good, YouTube? It is time for another week of the Beers and Sports Podcast. I got all three of the lads here with us. We got the man who's a Yinzer but wearing an Ohio State sweatshirt,
No,
Bobby Chapman. How we doing, bud?
Any more listeners?
You know, out of mutual respect, I am actually, that is my second college team is Ohio State. My aunt and uncle live in Columbus, so I kind of inherited it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then they started to root against Ohio State, so that made me want to root for them even more.
Gotcha. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Chance, buddy. What's up, man? You're in good spirits. Good weekend for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get to start up your busy end of the year right now, but hey, double and triple time.
I don't think he has actually
Big
posted
money,
any
Chance.
of our episodes.
Big money.
Yeah.
Big money. Jason, how we doing,
Especially with
buddy?
the new raise.
This is trying to find our podcast on YouTube.
Beers and
I
Sports
subscribe
Podcast. It's
to
not
it.
hard to find. See, even Bobby subscribed. See,
I think I'm the only subscriber.
you might be.
Brings up other people.
Yeah, we're probably going to get a copyright here soon.
It brings up.
It's the one with the four of us on it. It's not hard to find. It's the one at the Columbus game. Jason should know the picture. He's the one that orchestrated it.
According to a woman who can find anybody on the face of the earth with a first name.
But can't find this damn podcast.
Huh?
It's like a day.
Regularly.
I don't. Anyway, all right. So let's get underway here. Jason, break out your cell phone, break out your notes, because it is time for the first hour NCAA Week 13 recap. Buddy, the upsets were in abundance this week.
Fire.
The college playoff picture has changed drastically. Yeah. Take us away, bud.
Damn it.
Well, we're going to wait to talk about one game because somebody's right next to me and I'm easily punchable right now.
Yes, you are. You sure you don't want me to talk about that game? Because that's 7.5 hours away.
I'll still get punched. First off, Ohio State takes down Indiana. I love that we didn't just take a knee there at the end. We punched it in for an extra touchdown. So Eddie wants to run his mouth. That's what happens.
Let him know.
Fuck around and you find out.
Hell yeah. I respect it. Hey, that game,
Not to get us off topic.
Go ahead.
Bailey, I know you probably watched Pat McAfee on Friday.
I watch Pat McAfee every day.
Well, I mean, shout out to him being standing there with the sleeveless hoodie, in the shoe, in the rain.
Buddy was chiefing it out. I don't know how he didn't.
As soon as I heard how Ryan Day ended his segment, I was like, oh, Buckeyes by 25 at least.
No. Yeah. He was, that team was
When
motivated.
When Pat goes, this Indiana team's different, and Ryan Day, as he walks off, so are we. Like, that's just confidence right there. With a K.
You can't buy that. That is a different breed of confidence there. But it was watching the game. You could tell one team wanted to be there and the other team didn't. I know that first drive, Jason, you were like, well, okay, Indiana came to play. But then after that, I mean, it was all Ohio State. All Ohio State. The punt return was electric as hell. Will Howard.
For Caleb Downs.
Yep. Will Howard looked pretty good.
Says you're welcome.
Howard looked pretty good. The defense was flying all over the place. Indiana couldn't block your defensive line.
I mean, the fact that Indiana hasn't played anybody really showed in this game. I mean, their best win this year will be 6-6 Michigan after they lose next week.
Yeah, it's literally like we talked about if Indiana kept it close, but they didn't. They got rocked. They got their shit rocked for sure. And I don't know. Jason, I know how you feel about it. Um, but 2 wins of 3 in the top 5, I think, counts you as number one when the other team has played one. I know it happens to be your team, but they barely beat you
Yeah,
guys. And
how the hell?
honestly, yeah, I don't understand the rankings. I think Ohio State should be number one. 3 top 5 games, and the last 2 you've played, you've pretty much dominated. I know the scoreboard in the last one against Penn State didn't really show it, but like they dominated Penn State. They absolutely dominated Penn State. They made Penn State look foolish. Again, scoreboard didn't say it, but I didn't. I watched that game and I was like, "There's no way Penn State's coming back in this football game." Um,
How did Oregon have a bye this week? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. I don't know. They play Washington this week.
Out.
Yeah, they play Washington this week now coming up, and then they'll have Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. So Ohio State can, really exercise some demons there and show people that they are the true number one, which I think they are. I really do. They played like it this weekend. What are your thoughts, Jason? Play like a number one, but get ranked number 2. I know the AP poll is useless, but still tells a lot.
You want to be number one, beat the team that's currently number one. I mean, you had your shot, you didn't take advantage of it. It's as simple as that.
Yep. And as long as both teams win, you get that opportunity once again, right? So, yeah, a big win for Ohio State though. They destroyed Indiana.
What are you looking at? First upset of the weekend was Florida taking down Ole Miss. Big time upset for Florida. They have beaten 3 ranked teams in the last 3 weeks. The first time they've done that since 2018. Keep an eye out for Florida. I believe this game makes them bowl eligible. Yes.
Yeah, it would have been theirs.
You get to
Yeah.
6-5, become bowl eligible. So big win for Florida. Georgia and Tennessee played their late season, whatever the hell you want to call it, from the SEC. Fucking bullshit, if you ask me. Penn State narrowly escapes an upset in Minnesota, winning 26-25. They were ballsy at the end of that game, going for it 3 times on 4th down in the final drive to put that game away.
Yep.
Minnesota, you needed one fucking stop. One play 3 times, and you couldn't fucking do it. But Penn State escaped.
That's how it goes.
I still do not think they're the number 4 team in the country. I think they're number 11 at best. I think you put them behind some of these 3 lost teams at this point. They've not impressed me at all this year.
No.
They're not a top 4 team, but they're going to probably move up. If I had to guess.
They played BG, right? Wasn't that like a close game?
Yeah, they almost lost the ball.
Yeah,
in
they
grade.
won by 7.
I mean, yeah, they haven't played anybody, and then they barely win these games against these teams that they're favored by 15-20, and then we're supposed to consider that a top 4 team. You make it make sense.
Another upset, and this is becoming like the throwing things on the field problem. Arizona State takes down number 14 BYU, essentially ending BYU's hopes of at least making it as an at-large into the playoff. If you're a fan at a game, wait until the clock shows 000 before you fucking go on
And
the
then
field.
And make sure there's no flags.
Yeah, but make sure there's no flags either. Golly.
I mean, I get it in that game. There was the review. They put the 1 second back on the clock. But at the same time, we saw this in multiple games this weekend, and I'm getting tired of it.
It's getting bad because it's happening. I mean, it was happening kind of before everything, but how about BYU, though? you were ranked, what, sixth 2 weeks ago, in a bad loss at home to Kansas, and then another one against not Indiana, Arizona State, and all of a sudden you're done.
I
You're
mean, Arizona State is ranked. It's not like
now,
this is
yeah,
an
they're like
unranked
14th
loss,
now.
but you know, Arizona State had home field. I think Arizona State's a lot better than what people are thinking. I think they could possibly get into the playoff by winning the Big
Yeah,
12 now, because the other game that kind of dictates the Big 12, Kansas and Colorado, ended up with Kansas knocking off Colorado, which I could not be happier about.
oh yeah, I know you are. Hey, one
I
thing though,
hate Colorado. If they
I know
ever
you
make
do.
the playoff, I want to see them lose by 50 in the first round.
One thing though, I understand that not everybody likes Shador Sanders. I get it.
Should have been a
It should have been
penalty.
a flag, but also here's what else I
Yeah,
have to
it's a
say
knee
on that.
directly to an upright player's kneecap. That's a helmet right to the knee. That could have been ACL just like
But
that.
but
He's
here's
lucky
what
it's
I
not.
have to say about that. All right, I get it. I don't ever want to see a hit like that. But guess what? You fucking had it coming. You act the way you do. Travis Hunter throws up the Heisman symbol in a game you're losing by 20 plus points twice. At that point, you should be automatically disqualified from winning it. It's the way they go about themselves is what's bringing this on, and I'm surprised more teams haven't done shit like this.
Yeah, well, we don't like to see it because that's not how you play the game. You know, that can be a career.
It's not how you play the game. I don't condone it.
It's not.
But again, what do you expect when you act the way you do? Right? Brad Marchand goes into games, Tom Wilson goes into games expecting people to just beat the shit out of them because they're assholes. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter are both assholes, and they should go into every game thinking that a play like that could happen.
No, well, good on Kansas, but that's not the way to do it. There are better ways to do it. And at the end of the day, they did it the better way. They beat them by a lot, by a good margin. I think it was double digits, right? But yeah, no,
26
that's
or 16.
yeah, it's not something. It's not
But
something I.
I think we
It's
have
not
to
something
have
you want to
this
see. It's not a good
conversation
look.
right now while we're talking about Colorado. The Heisman Trophy. Okay?
Ashton
If it's not
Genty.
Ashton, if it's
Travis
not Ashton's,
Hunter
then what the
right
fuck are we
now
doing?
is the odds-on betting favorite to win the Heisman. I get it. The guy plays both ways. Congratulations.
And
I
he's
play
been
both ways on
average the
Madden.
last 5 games.
Yeah, I do too.
I play both ways on Madden and NCAA. I don't get to win the Heisman. Ashton Genty is putting up generational numbers at running back. He deserves the Heisman. If you want to make the trophy the best player in college football, then it
That
needs
season.
to be Ashton Genty.
Mm-hmm.
Just because Colorado showboats, dances around, they have Neon Dion as their fucking coach. Okay, congrats. If you want to make up a trophy for that, make up a trophy for that. That's not what the Heisman is. I don't even
Yeah,
want to see Travis Hunter in New York. I don't think he deserves that.
no. I mean, I had Jaden Milroe up there for like a wild card pick. Like I think the guy I worked with asked me my top three, and I had Jaden Milroe, Ashton winning it, and then I forget who else was the third one, but
I have Ashton Genty, Ryan Williams, and Dylan Gabriel there right now. Those are
yeah,
my top.
I think I
I
had
agree.
Gabriel up there. Yeah,
I agree with those three.
yeah, but I had Milroe up there because at the time I think he had 15 rushing and passing touchdowns, which is something that like hasn't been done in a while, and the way he's played up until Oklahoma, he was on fire, right? Jason, we talked about it. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? How like it was like holy hell, like no one wants to see Alabama right now because they are firing on all 8 cylinders. Like they are a tough out. It's going to be rough playing them, and Milroe's playing out of his mind. So I had him up there, but it shouldn't be a question. Ashton should be winning this going away. It should be unanimous. He's the reason Boise State is even in this conversation of going into a playoff. Do we have this conversation about Boise State if Jancy isn't doing what he's doing? No. That's an MVP.
No, because he has like 80% of their offensive production.
There you go. Like, you don't have him on your squad, you're not where you are. As simple as that. Is Colorado where they are with Travis Hunter or without Travis Hunter? Maybe.
Probably.
We don't know. But I think they could be.
I would say
I think they have a bunch of great players
overall,
on their squad.
Colorado, even without Travis Hunter, has the second best receiving core in the country behind Ohio State.
Yeah.
Because when your four
they have
receivers
phenomenal
are
talent.
Carnell Tate, Emeka Egbuka, and Jeremiah Smith, that's hard to beat because those are going to be 3 first-round picks. And then you have Brandon Inniss behind them who doesn't get the love that he deserves, but he's a huge part of the offense. He also will be a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Hunter is going to have to pick one side or the other. And if I had to pick for him, I would say corner. He's too small for a receiver in the NFL.
No. Yeah, but even at corner, he's been getting beat a lot. Like the Utah game, he got absolutely.
That's what I look at with this stuff. They think he's going to go number 1 overall. Okay. He might go number 1 overall because he played 2 ways. I think that's a bust. I think we could have 2 bust number 1 picks that are overhyped because of situations surrounding them in back-to-back years.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll go number 1 because I think the Giants will hold the number 1 pick, and obviously they're going to be looking for a quarterback because safety Daniel Jones is not the answer, and he's gone, and who the fuck knows where he's
Tommy DeVito is not the answer either.
You know, I was joking around with my dad about this.
About that in a little bit. The other 2 big upsets coming out of the ACC, Oklahoma put an absolute ass whooping on Alabama. She's in the shower. I can talk about it now. 24.
There we go. Let's get it out of the way.
I don't know what. I watched a little bit of this game because I was at work and then I was at the hockey game, which I should have fucking stayed at, but I left early because I wanted to get home because I had to be at work this morning. Should have stayed. But
yeah, should have.
I just Alabama looked flat. They looked like they underestimated Oklahoma. They came out thinking, "Oh, we're going to steamroll Oklahoma," and Oklahoma came out ready to prove a point, and they did, and they got the bowl eligible. 2 teams in the SEC with huge upsets that made themselves bowl eligible with their wins in Florida and Oklahoma. I mean, Oklahoma was 1-5 in the SEC.
I know, right?
You know, they proved that they aren't ready for the SEC. Texas really hasn't played a whole lot of those high-quality games in the SEC, so I can't really say, okay, they're ready for the SEC. They've got A&M this weekend, and I think that's going to be my upset pick of the week is A&M over Texas. But A&M coming off a tough loss at Auburn.
4 OT.
Now, if that receiver hadn't eaten that popcorn before the game, maybe he catches that ball. But, you know, just 2 games, I think that the ranked teams came in and underestimated the home team.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams losing on the road. I mean, that is SEC football. That is college football. You know, look at the Purdue Spoilermakers over the years. How many, good seasons have they ruined as the road team or the home team when they've been underestimated?
Yeah.
You know, that's college football. You've got to be ready to play your game. You play the game for a reason. Our FCS highlight of the week, the game that I highlighted in the FCS, was the Harvard-Yale rivalry. Yale ended up winning 34-29. There was another barn burner this weekend, and a shout out I want to give to Lehigh.
Oh yeah, this was all over Twitter.
2 games last year. This year, they won the Patriot League and are in the first round of the FCS playoffs. So congratulations to that coach. He did a great job coming in, turning that program around. So we'll see what Lehigh can do in the tournament. But the game of the week in FCS was Montana State.
What a game!
You had a top 5 matchup. You had the battle for Montana, a 305-pound trophy on the line.
It's
Jesus.
awesome. Yeah, it's awesome, dude.
And, a really close game. I'm looking for the score here real quick. Montana State coming out on top 34-11, taking down their rival. Montana State finishing the regular season 12-0. So, a great game there in the FCS. We got the FCS playoffs starting this next week. So we'll look at a few of those matchups. But week 14 in college football. A really good game on Thursday night. In case you don't want to watch the NFL on Thursday night, I don't know who the Thursday night game is this upcoming week. It's Thanksgiving.
There's 3 of them.
There's 3 of them.
But if you need a break from the NFL, you don't want to watch the Dolphins beat the shit out of the Packers, then turn over to ESPN to watch Memphis at Tulane. Both teams are 9-2. A huge game in the American. We'll see if Tulane currently ranked at number 20, Memphis unranked. So we'll see what comes of that game. I think that'll be a really good game. But looking ahead, a battle for the top of the MAC in Miami of Ohio and Bowling Green on Friday night. Friday during the day, a noon kickoff there. Both teams 7-4, fighting to make their way to the MAC championship up there in Detroit, MCDC town. We'll see who comes out on top on that one. Bowling Green currently a 2.5-point favorite in that game. I expect
Gotta love some action.
Really good action on Black Friday. Some discount football for you coming with the
Love
MAC.
action.
Yeah, if you don't want to
The
watch,
Egg Bowl going to
Kansas
be a
City.
bad game. Ole Miss favored by 27, but who knows? Jackson Dart may throw 7 interceptions in the first quarter.
In a minute.
So,
I mean, talk about one of the all-time college football collapses right there. You had, 3-4 chances there in the last 2 minutes.
One got taken back. One got given back to him. He said, "Watch me do it again."
Yeah, and very next play, bang. I'm like, that's a collapse right there.
Sticking on the Black Friday side of things, another great mid-major game, group of 5 game. Both teams 8 wins. Liberty 8-2, Sam Houston 8-3. Liberty currently favored by 2.5. What a hell of a year for Sam Houston. First year in the FBS, and they're out here at 8-3. Great story there. I definitely will probably tune into that one.
Sam Houston coming off a tough loss.
Yeah.
Liberty, those all-white Liberty uniforms might be one of my favorites of the year, too.
They are really nice.
A game on Friday that I think is going to be a lot closer than what the current spread is. On Friday at 7:30, Georgia Tech at Georgia. Georgia, a 20-point favorite. I'm not saying Georgia Tech's going to beat them. I am saying that I would put Georgia on upset alert just because Georgia Tech has looked decent at times, and if they come out ready to go for this rivalry, they could give Georgia a run for their money. I'm not saying they're going to beat them, but keep an eye on them. I would take Georgia Tech against the spread, especially with how Carson Beck has struggled at times, right?
Yeah, he's looked better these last couple weeks, but like you said, I mean, he has 3 games with 3 interceptions. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that he gets into trouble like that again. He's cleaned it up the last couple weeks, no interceptions in the last 2 games. But yeah, definitely not taking Tech lightly. We shouldn't. But I mean, how about Georgia? Going into yesterday, Jason, we had no path. I think he can hear you. It's so loud he can't even hear you.
Chance.
Sorry, I'm eating Pop-Tarts. I don't have any butter to put on my Pop-Tart.
Oh man, but
Butter
you
on a
needed
Pop-Tart.
Freaking good.
Freaking good.
Have you ever
you
put
needed
butter on
so
a
much help
On a Pop-Tart.
If
to
you haven't
put
been, I
your.
think.
I don't know how the rest of the fan base of Georgia's feeling today because our path to potential playoff was pretty clear. Don't lose anymore. Win out. Do your thing. You're gonna have the bye. You're gonna have a bye week going into the playoff potentially. You're gonna be one of the lower seeds. You're probably not gonna have a home game, and then all of a sudden, Ole Miss loses. Texas A&M loses. Alabama loses, and now all of a sudden you're thrusted right back in, and you have Texas in Atlanta. If you lose, you're out of the playoffs. If you win, you get a first week bye. You get a first round playoff bye, and you're one of the 4 teams. I mean, like that. That's how.
And that's why I hate this top 4 conference champs get a first round bye. All right, so you're telling me if Boise State ends up being one of the highest ranked conference champs that they deserve a bye over a 2-loss Ohio State who's lost to Oregon twice?
Hey,
Then,
I would honestly, I would love to see that just because I want to see Ohio State's defense against the Heisman winner. I want to see what they do to stop him. You know what I mean? Like that's just like a matchup I want to see. One of the best defenses in the nation going against the best running back and player in college football. I want to see that matchup. I want to see who wins that. You know?
But moving on, we'll talk more about the playoff here in a little bit. But
Yeah.
rivalry week, Ohio State against that team up north. Ohio State
Yeah.
currently a 20.5-point favorite.
That's it?
It'll end up being a lot worse.
I hope so.
Shut up. Go to bed. Game of the week. A noon kickoff on ESPN. Number 18, South Carolina at number 17, Clemson. Clemson currently is set a 3-point favorite. I'm taking South Carolina in this game.
Same.
I just feel like South Carolina is the better team. Clemson hasn't proven anything to me. Got their asses handed to them by Georgia. They haven't played well all year, it seems like. That's why they're 17th in the country, even with only 2 losses.
Yeah, I was like 9-2 and being 17th, and your name is Clemson. Yeah, that.
Next
like 2
game
plus
we
2
got to
not
talk
4.
about, and we have to talk about because it's just on brand with the show. The Cum Bowl, UConn taking on UMass. UConn a 10.5-point favorite. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look at the logos for UConn and UMass put together. It spells cum. UConn 7-4. I'm used to talking about UConn being the opposite there, both these teams being 2-9 like UMass is, but UConn having a good year for their standards, bowl eligible. Going to see what they got in a bowl game. FBS independent, so don't really know what bowl game they'll get. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yep.
Moving on down the line here. Notre Dame at USC. Notre Dame currently a 7-point favorite over 6-5 USC. Chance, how are we feeling about this one? Does it make you nervous going and playing on the West Coast a little bit here?
No.
Okay, swallow your Pop-Tart first, sweetheart.
Well, I need a drink.
Notre Dame coming off a week where they dismantled Army. I was kind of upset by that. I really wanted to see them defeated and make the argument they should be in the playoff. But Notre Dame played a good game. It's tough to play against the triple option no matter what, and they did a really good job of it, holding them on the ground. But I think Notre Dame going into this one has a lot of confidence, seeing as how USC has been relatively bad this year. I would take Notre Dame. They're currently only a 7-point favorite. USC has played a lot of close games with some good teams in the Big Ten. They played Penn State really close. I believe.
Miller Moss is not playing.
Huh?
Miller Moss is not playing.
Yeah. A close win over Nebraska, close win over UCLA, close loss to Washington. Dismantled Rutgers, who looked really good this past week. Lost by 1 to Maryland.
Hey,
So,
Rutgers, man. That's tough, Rutgers.
3-point loss to Michigan. Like, USC has so many of these one-loss games. When you look at their schedule, if you flip the result of their losses in 1-point game in one possession games, they add 1, 2, 3, 4 wins to their resume, which would put them at 9-2.
And we're having a conversation about them in the playoff.
Yeah. So, USC isn't a team to take light. I don't think Notre Dame will, especially because they had the opportunity to take Army light this week, right?
Yeah.
Knowing, they're ranked because they're undefeated, but who have they played? But they came out and put on a show. So we'll see with that game. Auburn at Alabama. If Auburn wins, they'll give Alabama the most losses I can remember in a year.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time they've had 3 losses.
Eligible at 6-6.
Yeah.
Alabama currently only favored by 11.5. Honestly, I see this being a lot higher spread than 11.5. I don't think Auburn has any chance if Alabama plays the way that they are capable of. If
They'll be back.
plays like he did against Oklahoma, I still think they win, but I think they win by 2 touchdowns.
It could get spicy, though.
I think Auburn is.
Yeah, they'll win. Milroe can play like he did last week, and they'll still win by maybe a touchdown. But it could get spicy there for a few quarters. But hey, you brought up Rutgers real quick. I don't want to get you totally off track. Did any of you watch Illinois versus Rutgers last week or yesterday? Did anyone see the ending of that game?
Yeah, they iced the kicker. He missed, and then they went for it and scored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's nuts. That's insane. Like, you don't see that every day. Like, you ice the kicker, he would end up missing, you would have won the game. Thinking that, I'm going to just ice the kicker here, they're going to go for it, they're going to still kick it. Coach says, to hell with it. I know I'm not going to make it. Might as well just go for it here and see what happens, and they go in for a touchdown. Like, can't make that kind of stuff up there at all. Big W for Illinois.
The next game I want to talk about, Miami at Syracuse. Syracuse currently at 8-3. Miami at 10-1, ranked number 8. I put this game on upset alert. I think Syracuse beats Miami at home. I think 10.5 is very generous towards Miami, considering how bad they've looked against much worse teams. Mm-hmm. I think Syracuse comes out on top. Kyle McCord shows people that he earned the job as the Ohio State starting quarterback, and but he's had a decent year. But again, ACC is dog shit. So we'll see what Miami's made of. They've already lost one game they probably shouldn't have. They've won a few they shouldn't have. So we'll see if Syracuse can come out ready to go and earn a win in this game. Moving on down the line, some of the better games, because we get rivalry week, which is always awesome. The games are usually really good. We can talk about every single one of these saying they'll be close. But there's a few games that just, like Florida State, not going to be a game. Florida State's awful. But our shitter of the week, we'll get to that one here in a minute. An interesting game, in my opinion. 2 unranked teams. Oklahoma at LSU. LSU currently only favored by 6. I think Oklahoma could come out and take down LSU if they play with the same fight that they had against Alabama. LSU fighting to get to 8-4 on the year, stay above. A 7-5 year is not LSU like. Really, an 8-4 season we kind of don't expect from LSU.
Right.
But Oklahoma trying to stay above 500 going into bowl week. Going to be tough. LSU playing in Death Valley at 7 o'clock, prime time on ESPN. It's a hostile environment, very difficult to play in. So we'll see what they come out with.
Do you give OU the advantage here after what they did last week to Alabama?
I give LSU the advantage because of the atmosphere at Death Valley.
Gotcha.
Those fans are going to want to come out because Oklahoma played Alabama at home.
Yeah.
They haven't had to have a true big-time SEC road game at night yet.
Mm-hmm.
And here it is, LSU. Go win in Death Valley. Show me you can win in Death Valley on prime time, and then maybe we'll talk about I probably should have given you the edge. But prove something to me before I give you that edge. That's my thing.
Yeah.
The second game of the week, Texas A&M at home against Texas. Currently, Texas is favored by 5.5. Again, I think this is my upset of the week.
Mm-hmm.
A&M will take down Texas and make it very difficult for people to give them a spot in the playoff outside of, maybe having to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
They're sitting at the 3 seed right now. You lose to Texas A&M on the road, who just lost to Kansas. In my eyes, if I'm a voter, that drops you way down just because you shouldn't lose to Kansas. But
how about Kansas, though, pretty much ruining the playoff chances for two of these teams, right? Took down BYU and then took down a Colorado team that, regardless of what we think of them, they were rolling. They were doing good things. They were on track to, winning the whole deal and getting a playoff spot potentially, right? Or a highly, a highly anticipated bowl game against a pretty good team, and Kansas said nope and nope to both of them. So they're riding high right now. They don't sleep on Kansas. Don't sleep on the Jayhawks. It's not basketball season for them yet.
Another big-time rivalry matchup here, Kansas State at Iowa State. Iowa State favored by 2.5. Iowa State currently number 22 in the country at 9-2. Kansas State at 8-3. Good chance for both teams to show that, they're a top team in the Big 12.
Yeah.
So we'll see what these teams can do. Kansas State obviously has been upset once or twice this year. Iowa State, same thing. So we'll see what these teams come out with. I think both teams are ready to prove something here towards the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But another Group of 5 game I'm looking forward to maybe catching a glimpse of is 8-3 Marshall at 8-3 James Madison. JMU currently favored by 3.5. I think this will be a pretty good game. 2 8-3 teams in the Sun Belt usually turns out to be pretty good.
Yeah.
I believe it's the Sun Belt. Yeah. All right. We're at that time. We have 2 shitters of the week.
Here we go.
Depth because we do have other conversations to have. Some of these have been teams that we've talked about before.
Yep.
Not looking forward to watching their games. And until they prove that I should look forward to it, I'm never going to watch them. First shitter of the week goes to where did that one? Southern Miss, 1-10 Southern Miss at 3-8 Troy. Troy's currently favored by 17 points. Not often you see a team with 8 losses favored by over 2 touchdowns.
And the other team is Southern Miss.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not going to go too in depth with these like we have. The next shitter of the week, 2-9 FAU, who just fired Tom Herman. Fun fact from this past week: every school with the Owl nickname had fired their head coach. But
Wow.
2-9 FAU at 3-8 Tulsa. The team with 9 losses is favored by 1 point on the road. That just shows you how bad Tulsa is. It also shows you how bad FAU is.
That's an interesting stat there.
Third shitter of the week, 2-9 UTEP at 3-8 New Mexico State. New Mexico State is favored by a safety. It's not often you get a 2-point spread. But by God, they are doing it. I love that they put a lot of these games we pick as shitter of the week at 4 o'clock on Saturday, knowing that nobody's going to fucking watch.
Yeah. We're all getting ready for the primetime games. It's like our little break between everything.
Let's take a look this week, just real quick, at some of our playoff matchups in the FCS. One team that we had pointed out, Lehigh, 8-3, will travel to 10-2 Richmond for the first round on, I believe, Saturday at 2 o'clock. Should be a pretty good game.
Yeah.
Another first round matchup, 8-4 Eastern Kentucky travels to 9-3 Villanova. Yes, Villanova has a football team. They are not just a basketball school. They're barely a basketball school right now.
Oh, dude, I heard it's brutal over there.
And then another team that we're thinking of in basketball that we'll talk about it when we talk about college basketball, because we do have a big situation to talk about in basketball right now. But
I missed this.
Drake at 8-2, traveling to Tarleton State at 9-3 in the first round. Your first round buys in the FCS playoffs go to 10-2 South Dakota State, 10-2 Incarnate Word, 10-2 Mercer, which keep in mind one of their 2 losses is to Alabama, and 12-0 Montana State, 10-2 North Dakota State, 9-2 South Dakota, 10-2 UC Davis, and 9-3 Idaho. So, FCS playoffs getting underway. Those are always exciting to watch. I always enjoy watching them, especially whenever you get a game in the Fargo Dome. I always tune in for games in the Fargo Dome.
Yeah.
Wish the Fargo Dome was a stadium on NCAA, but, you know. But, looking ahead, right now, we're not going to go full 12-team playoff. We'll talk more 12-team after the next couple weeks. But, Bobby, give me your Power 4. Give me the Power 4 teams. Give me your top 4 seeds. And then give me your 5th conference champ that you think will get in.
So I believe... So I'm going to go with... In no particular order here. These are just who I think's the conference champs. I'm going to go Ohio State's going to win the Big Ten. Honestly, I think SMU's going to win the ACC.
Right now, that'd be the safe bet.
Yeah. SEC, I'm really not 100% sure on. I believe it's going to be Texas.
Okay.
And then Arizona State's going to win the Big 12. And what am I missing here? My heart wants to say Army, honestly. After they win the American.
Okay. Chance, are you there?
But I could
Rams
also
on
see,
Twitter.
I could also see Tulane getting in if they would win the American as well.
Mm-hmm.
Chance, give me your Power 4 conference champs and give me your Group of 5 representative.
So I'll go by seeds. I'll go Ohio State 1, Georgia 2, because Quinn Ewers is also getting an MRI on his ankle that he injured Saturday, so he might not even play for the rest of the year. So who knows what that Texas team will look like.
Arch Manning, baby.
SMU at 3, Boise State at 4, then Arizona State won't be a part of a Power 4. They'll be the 5th team, the 5th conference champion out of the Big 12.
Okay. Billy.
I mean, it's right now. It's just that revenge game for Ohio State, right? Like that's hard to pick against right now, right? Like I've been pretty high on Oregon all season long, but when you look at how Oregon has played the last three, look at how Oregon's played since they beat Ohio State, and look at Ohio State since they've lost, and tell me who's been the better team. Your answer should always and forever be Ohio State. They've just been the better team. I know they just had a tough game against Wisconsin on the road, but Ohio State has played, like I said, 3 top 5 matchups, and they've won 2, and honestly, we're a couple plays away from winning against Oregon. It just didn't fall in their favor, right? Like, it's hard not to sit here and not pick Ohio State. So I'm going to go Ohio State. I think they're going to take the top seed as well. I'm going to pick my dogs, man. They didn't have an answer the first time, and I don't think they'll have an answer this time. And Quinn Ewers potentially being out the rest of the season. Sorry, Arch Manning, you're not ready. It's not your time yet to be that guy, but so give me Georgia. I think they'll do some things against Texas, But SMU, I think they're better than Miami. They've been playing better than Miami. SMU has 1 loss and is to a top 15 ranked team. Miami has the loss against Georgia Tech, which Georgia Tech's no pushover, but they're not. Have they been ranked all season? I don't think so. They might have been in the first couple weeks, but since then, no. So I can't sit here and think Miami. And Miami's lost a bunch of won a bunch of games they should have lost. That always comes back to bite you in the playoffs, right? So I'll take SMU, and then who do I need? The Big 12, right? Golly. Yeah, I'll take Arizona State. I'll take Arizona State there. And then the bid you said I need, right, Jason? It's the
Group of 5.
Group of 5. Boise's in that group of 5, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking it would either be them or Army. But I don't know how much the committee's going to weigh. I think it's going to be Army. Honestly.
Over Boise?
I don't know.
It's obviously Boise out of the group of 5 just because.
Yeah.
They beat anybody in the Big 12. Boise deserves the Power 4. They beat anybody in the Big 12. They'll smash anybody with the group of 5.
Yeah,
Boise deserves the 4.
And that's the Heisman winner sitting there. So, yeah. He makes a great point. So, yeah, but Boise has to be in there as long as they don't lose.
That's why I have Arizona State as the bid.
Yeah. Either way, I think those 5 will be in.
I mean, I got to go, having watched Ohio State all year, I still think they've been the best team in the country all year, most talented team in the country all year. I've got them at 1. I've got Texas at 2. I just think that there's other levels to that Texas team that I really like. Um, 3, I'm going to go Clemson. I think Clemson upsets SMU in the ACC championship game.
I
They've
I
been
don't
there.
see. I watched both teams play, and I think SMU's better in pretty much any aspect than Clemson.
I think SMU's better, don't get me wrong. But when you look at having been there, that's my
That's
big
true.
thing.
Yeah, I
SMU
get
has
what you mean
not
there.
been there in a situation like this. Clemson has. Dabo knows how to get his team ready. As much as I hate Dabo Sweeney, I can give him that much credit. He knows how to get his team ready to go for a game like this. I have Boise State as the 4. I don't see any way that Army gets in unless Boise State gets absolutely dismantled in the Mountain West Championship somehow. And then I got the winner of the Big 12 as the 5. I think right now it'll be BYU. As much as I like the way that Arizona State is playing right now, I just think that BYU is more talented. I know that they just lost to Arizona State, but again, a revenge game. 2 weeks separated from that loss. I like BYU to come back and beat Arizona State. You don't have no home field advantage. And I think it plays better for BYU neutral site than it does for Arizona State.
And it's going to be interesting, especially for that Power 5 bid.
Question. Here's a thing of discussion. Say Quinn Ewers' MRI is positive, he misses the rest of the year. Somehow Arch beats Texas A&M, then they get absolutely throttled in the conference title game. Do we keep him out like we did Florida State last year? Because they set the precedent that if you don't have your star quarterback, you're done.
That was with a 4 team. In the new format, Florida State would have been a top 4 seed.
I'm just saying they set the precedent.
I know they did, and I know the point you're bringing up, but I just think with the 12 team, it's a little bit different thought process.
And also I think if Texas goes on, obviously, to beat A&M and then lose again to Georgia, their only 2 losses are against one team. You remember last year, Jason, how Oregon would have been in the 4-team playoff had they not lost twice to Washington, right? That was their Achilles heel last year with Bo Nix and that squad. Was losing twice to Washington, and a lot of people can make a compelling argument that they should be in there. But then you had Florida State. Even though Georgia was a 2-loss team, they had still gone to the SEC championship, so there's an argument there. There's an argument for a few of them. Ohio State, I think, was definitely an argument. But, thankfully we only have to deal with, the 12-team playoff. So if Texas loses again the SEC championship, I don't think they'll fall that far.
Okay, let's say Quinn Ewers is done and they lose against A&M and they don't make it to the conference title.
I think they're in no matter what.
No, because A&M, they only have A&M can still get in. They beat Texas because they'd hold the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
There'd be 2 losses in the SEC for Texas. A&M winning, you're in.
If they do, they're going to be a low seed. Texas would be on the low side of seed because, again, it would only be 2 losses, right? You're not going to put them behind Alabama or Ole Miss, who's another 3-loss team that's close to it, right? You're not going to put them behind those
Tennessee's 2
teams.
losses.
Yeah, Tennessee, but they have a pretty difficult game this weekend. You can't count out Vanderbilt.
Tennessee currently holds the tiebreaker over A&M.
Yeah. So if A&M beats Texas, then it's Tennessee against Georgia, SEC championship in Atlanta. So Tennessee still has a way in to the SEC championship, but it all comes down to Texas A&M. So big implications this weekend in the SEC, Jason, for sure. Just nothing being set in stone right now. But A&M's got to play better. They just lost 4 overtimes to Auburn, who the 4 of us think are very shit, especially this year. So they got to find it. And I know we dog Texas for not playing anybody. It's still a good program over there. Even if Arch Manning's at the helm, it's still a good program. They're going to find a way to win games. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Chance, do you think A&M is going to beat Texas this weekend?
If Quinn Ewers isn't playing, yes. Texas A&M has turned it on.
Texas, yeah, they have been pretty good.
Where is it at? Is that Kyle Field?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If you don't have Quinn Ewers, good luck. Yeah, if no Quinn Ewers, A&M wins.
Heard it here first. Hell yeah. Jason, anything else before we hit to a break, buddy?
No.
No? All right. Well, when we come back, I think, Jason, you have some college basketball you wanted to go over. Chance, do you have NHL? I didn't get a chance to do NHL this week.
We had some coach firing.
Yeah, we did have some coach firings. You had a coach hiring, so we'll get on to that. And then anything else we can figure out in that second hour, we'll get into.
Do we have quarterback series this week?
That's
Break
true.
Time.
Yo, what up, Crisco? Find yourself easy? Well, there hasn't been any monsters in a minute. So, got that going for me. But, I'm always on edge, because chat's been on fucking edge. Therefore, I'm on edge. God! Dude, you know what? We need to pause the music, because I need full fucking immersion here. I want to piss my pants while I run away from the mutant dudes trying to eat my face off.
Welcome to Hour 2, Beers and Sports Podcast. Got the lads with me right now, watching Sunday Night Football. Jason, college basketball. Talk to me. What's happened over the last week since we last talked to each other on this show?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just an FBI investigation, but, you know.
That's nothing major.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy.
Those don't ever stick.
About it. Just kidding, we do. Former Temple guard who had transferred to Virginia Tech is currently being investigated in a point shaving situation. He has been kicked off of the team at Virginia Tech, never played a game there.
What's exactly point shaving?
Making sure that a game stays at a certain score to make money within the spread.
Okay. That was my guess, but I wasn't real sure.
We think there are a few other players involved. A player from Ohio State is currently not participating in team activities. It is believed to be for that reason. The kid does have a few other things going on, so we don't know what exactly is going on there. But, anywho, the top 25. We had a few big games this week. Marquette taking down Purdue by 18. Marquette looks like it's got a really good team this year. The other team...
Without Zach Edey, is Purdue going to be relevant?
They'll be relevant. They have really good guard play. Their big 7-footer that they brought in to replace Zach Edey is out for the year with a broken leg.
Oh.
So we'll see if Purdue can get it turned around. The other team who currently is not ranked, who I believe will be ranked soon, to keep an eye on, are the Drake Bulldogs. They've had a great start to the year. Expect them to get some love here soon in the top 25. Wednesday night, number 8 Alabama took down number 25 Illinois 100-87. Not surprised to see Alabama scoring in the hundreds against a top 25 team. They have a fast-paced offense that just gets out, runs, and scores. Baylor took down St. John's in probably the game of the year so far, hitting a buzzer-beating 3 in a ballroom in the Bahamas in double overtime to win that game 99-98.
Oh, was that at the Maui?
No, the Battle for Atlantis.
It was a phenomenal.
The Maui's this week, right?
Yeah. Number 14 Creighton lost on Friday night to unranked Nebraska 74-63. Tennessee took down number 11 Tennessee took down number 13 Baylor 77-62. And number 12 Duke won 69-59 over number 17 Arizona. We have a few good ranked games this week. On Monday night, the Maui starts 9 p.m. Number 4 Auburn against number 5 Iowa State in the first
phenomenal deal.
The other game in the Maui that night at 11:30 on Monday, Dayton, who's currently 5-0, takes on number 10 North Carolina.
That could actually be a really good game.
On Tuesday, you have 5-0 Oregon up against 4-1 number 23 ranked Texas A&M. You have number 7 Houston against number 8 Alabama. And you have number 1 Kansas taking on number 12 Duke. Wednesday night, 3-1 Louisville. And the battle for Atlantis will take on number 16 ranked 4-0 Indiana. You will also have number 23 Texas A&M taking on number 14 Creighton. And number 24 Rutgers taking on number 8 Alabama. Thursday night in the Thanksgiving Hoops Showcase, you'll have number 20 Arkansas taking on number 25 Illinois. And then on Friday, a non-ranked matchup, you have in Columbus, Ohio at The Ohio State University, 4-1 Ohio State at home against 6-1 Pitt. Pitt having just lost a close game to Wisconsin.
Well, it was ranked.
What, Chance?
Huh? Well, I didn't say anything.
What, Billy?
No, I did.
Yeah, Bobby.
I thought Pitt was ranked like 20.
Nope, they are not ranked right now.
That's right now, though. That could change. But I was taking a run the table. So I'm starting to watch college basketball. I'm getting better. What are your thoughts on Ohio State? I thought they looked pretty good. I think they could run the table as a ranked team, maybe keep it going.
They looked good against Texas. Didn't look so great against A&M.
A&M's good though.
State's schedule.
Yeah, A&M might be on a different level this year. They're really good.
They're beatable. I think they have a couple losses coming up against ranked teams. But Ohio State's wins are against Texas, Youngstown State, Evansville, and Campbell, and they play Green Bay tomorrow night. Friday starts a stretch that's pretty tough for Ohio State. They play Pitt on Friday. Then in the month of December, they're at Maryland, at home against Rutgers, neutral site against number 4 Auburn, at home against Valpo. In New York, I believe they're at MSG this year. Yes, they play number 9 Kentucky, and then at home against Indiana State. So a tough month of December that we're really going to find out about Ohio State. That's going to be the stretch. I think you'll learn a lot about them.
Yeah.
They just really have not played anybody yet. So I don't know
what do you think
yet. But
I was about to say, what do you think your team can be this year? I know They've only played 5 games, but from the early jump, I mean, you beat Texas, who's not sorry at the sport of basketball, right? Like, what's your confidence level in them going forward?
I mean, when you look at Ohio State, you got to look at the back or the front court. In Michi and Bruce Thornton, and then coming off the bench, when Quez Glover is healthy, you have Glover and John Mobley Jr. John Mobley Jr. has made no less than 4 threes in every game so far this year and is averaging double digits as a true freshman.
It's impressive.
He's averaging 15.4 points a game and is shooting 59.3% from the three-point line. In only 19 minutes, he is averaging 15 points. Kid can do a lot. You know, I've seen him go off the dribble. He can get to the basket, even though he's smaller. Obviously, he's a fantastic shooter. I think he's the best shooter in the country right now. I haven't seen anybody that can compare to him when it comes to shooting. And you look at Bruce Thornton. I mean, your starting two are going to be Bruce Thornton and Michi Johnson. Both of them can shoot the three. Both can attack the basket. And when you put the ball in Bruce's hands, he can control a basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't get the ball out of Bruce's hands, you're going to be in for a world of hurt against Ohio State. The big thing that I look at when it comes to Ohio State, don't press. They have two of the best guards in the country at breaking the press, and then you throw in, they have Micah Parrish, who also can play a little bit of guard if needed, and played in a national championship game at San Diego State. Don't press. You're begging them to make shots. Devin Royal has been on a tear lately. He's a sophomore power forward, small forward, can play a little bit of center and has in smaller lineups. But the big thing I think that's going to help Ohio State is their defense. Man to man, they play really good defense. You have a guy, he was a transfer from Penn State last year. I believe he's a junior this year, Evan Mahaffey. Not going to score a whole lot, can bully you down low. If he gets a mismatch, he's going to take advantage of it and take it to the bucket. But he is primarily there for his defense. He is a great on-ball defender, great off-ball defender, and Ohio State just has hands everywhere on defense. The big concern I have is down low right now. Sean Stewart should be back for Friday, but without Aaron Bradshaw and whatever his situation is, you don't have a true center. Andy Parks should step up into that. He's a sophomore, local kid from Ohio, played at St. Mary's Memorial up by Lima. We'll see if he can step up. They've got good role players. A guy that's seeing a lot more time is Owen White. Kid can jump. I think I sent you guys the 2 dunks he had the other night. Kid, and he can shoot. He can shoot a little bit. He'll get some minutes. They have a big 7-foot center from Croatia on the bench, Nagovin. He can shoot the ball a little bit. He can come in and bang around down low. Not the defensive presence that Bradshaw is, not the defensive presence that Felix Okpara and Zed Key were last year.
Mm-hmm.
But they have the potential to be a really good team. When you look at March and you look at the teams that have gone far, there's one constant: really good guard play. And when you look at Ohio State, you have 4 to 5 guards that can come into a game and take over and change the game. And I think that's going to play well to March if they can get to the big dance. You know, they've got to take care of the Big Ten. The Big Ten is not easy. Rutgers and Maryland look really good. Purdue's always going to be good. Wisconsin looks like they're going to be a really good team again this year. Indiana has a squad again this year. You can never count out Michigan State. Iowa's always good. When you look at the Big Ten right now, the worst record in the Big Ten is 4-1.
That's pretty good.
Granted, they probably haven't played a whole lot of teams. Obviously, Wisconsin took down Pitt tonight. I put that up there as a quad 1 win. USC is currently beating Grambling. Maryland beat Villanova tonight. Rutgers did just lose to Kennesaw State. Wisconsin took down UCF, who beat Texas A&M early in the year. Nebraska took down Creighton. Oregon beat Oregon State by 3. Illinois lost to Alabama, but Alabama's going to be really good this year. Purdue lost to Marquette. Again, Marquette going to be really good this year.
Yeah, Marquette's on for a big year.
Nebraska's only loss is to 4-0 St. Mary's, who always makes some noise. Indiana took down South Carolina. Ohio State beat Texas. Michigan beat TCU. Purdue did take down Alabama, so you do have a win against Alabama in the Big Ten. But, in the big one, Wisconsin, when they were unranked, beat Arizona by 15. So the Big Ten, always tough. Chance, you watch enough Big Ten college basketball to know this too. You just never know in the Big Ten. You really never know what's going to happen with the Big Ten.
It's always fun to watch Big Ten basketball, especially when they go against each other.
Yeah.
You never know what will happen.
Ohio State got up to number 1 in the country, and they were never projected. They were unranked to start the year. Right now, Rutgers with Ace Bailey and I think Wagner, I think is the kid's name. Harper. Dylan Harper. Both true freshmen. They're leading scorers. Ace Bailey averaging 20, Harper averaging 19.5. 2 guards. Again, guard play. Comes into effect in March. Could play well for Rutgers. I am really interested, Bobby. You've watched Pitt a little bit more than I have, I'm sure, basketball-wise, because they're actually playing decent to start the year. I'm interested to see what Friday brings.
Pitt's a big team this year. They have a big lineup.
Ohio State in that game. They lost their big guy down low. But I'm interested to see. I hate that they took away the Big Ten ACC Challenge.
That used to be some of the best games. Me and you've talked about that. All the years we were in Lima, we were always hoping that Pitt and Ohio State would have played in Columbus those years.
And it just so happens that the year after they're done with the ACC Big Ten Challenge,
they end up playing each other. Which is actually, I think it's pretty funny.
But
that's actually hilarious.
This is kind of the conversation I wanted to get into because the FBI probe we don't have a whole lot of information on yet, other than it was point shaving. We're going to have to wait till more information comes out to talk about that. But when you look at college basketball, what 2 conferences do you think of as the top 2 in the country?
Big Ten, ACC.
And the Big Ten, right?
Yeah.
You look at some of the matchups you could have had a couple years ago. Michigan State, Duke. You had Ohio State, Duke play back-to-back years. Wisconsin, North Carolina. Maryland playing any one of those ACC schools because they did come from the ACC. Louisville coming out of the ACC. Clemson's had some decent teams in the ACC. Wake Forest has been good. Vanderbilt. Indiana, Purdue, Illinois going and playing an ACC team or having an ACC team come to them. Those were big-time matchups. And I loved it. That's the one thing that I really love about college basketball, and they really don't have too much of a choice with it, right? Those big-time teams play each other.
Yeah.
Listen to the schedule I just listed off for Ohio State. They play number 4 Auburn, and they play number 9 Kentucky. They've already played at the time number 19 Texas and number 23 Texas A&M.
Damn.
And that's all non-conference. That's 4 ranked games outside of the conference, 2 in the top 10, which I think by the time Ohio State plays Kentucky could be within the top 5, and you're playing 2 top 5 teams.
Wow. That's nuts.
Playing Auburn, you're playing in Atlanta, neutral site, air quotes, okay? Pay attention to the air quotes. They're in Atlanta. That's SEC country, okay?
Yeah.
It's not going to
prime SEC country, Atlanta.
that's going to be a true road game. I do like the fact that Ohio State did play an actual true road game against A&M. That's something they have not done in a while. And playing a schedule like this is something they never did under Chris Holtman. And I think it only benefits you more going further on, especially in a big-time conference like Ohio State's in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Chance can talk about this too. The Big Ten is probably the most physical basketball and the most grind-your-nose basketball in the country, or the hardest basketball you will watch in the States. I mean, it's some of the greatest basketball in the country between the NBA
for sure.
and college.
Well, the NBA is a joke.
Sure.
It is. Did you see Giannis took one dribble from the opposite three-point line to the basket the other night?
I'll be honest,
Yeah,
I
he
really don't watch the
it.
NBA.
Yeah. But when you look at the Big Ten is one of those old-school conferences. It comes down to your play down low in the paint. You have to have good paint presence on defense, and you have to have a good paint scorer. And if you can throw some shooting in there, look at how Purdue ran through the Big Ten these last 4 years with Zach Edey. Feels like he was there for 10 years, but and look at those years that Illinois was really good, right? They had Ayo Dosunmu, they had Kofi Coburn, even though his name was spelled Cockburn, but Coburn was a big presence down low. You look at the good teams in Big Ten history, all of them have one thing in common: a really good defensive and offensive big guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's going to kill Ohio State, because I think they thought they had that in Aaron Bradshaw, and now you don't have him. So now you're going to have to expect Micah Parrish to get to the bucket and play a little defense down low. You're going to have to expect Sean Stewart to step it up on the defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
And the shooting's going to happen. I mean, if Mobley makes 4 to 5 threes a game, you're going to get 12 to 15 points from your backup point guard. Easy.
Bingo.
Which is always nice to have.
Bruce.
That's nice to have in your back pocket.
Bruce Thornton, I think, ended up close to a double-double in points and assists the other night, and I think he only had 11 points. That's just the kind of guard he is. He's going to dish, he's going to play make, he's going to make plays on offense to set up other guys, and if his shot comes, he's going to. Ichi realized the other night, I can shoot the three ball, but a lot of people aren't quick enough to stay with me, so I'm going to get to the bucket. The Big Ten is interesting. You've had a bunch of teams lose already.
Mm-hmm.
You've had a bunch of teams win big games already. And when you look at it, in college basketball, it's harder to tell early on unless you're playing these big-time games. But when your lowest record at this point in the year is 4-1.
It's a good start. It's a good sign.
To sit there and say that this conference isn't going to be the best conference in college basketball. Obviously, the ACC may have something to say about it, and the Big 12 may have something to say about it. But I think the Big Ten is the best basketball you can play in college.
Sitting right here, right now,
Seen it? You watch a decent amount of college basketball all the way around.
It's actually entertaining to watch, not what you call the NBA.
Chance.
Blinders are on, buddy.
I was looking at a commercial. I was entranced in a commercial.
Why? Who was on the commercial?
Applebee's has
Nobody.
a real family deal for $10.
Oh, of course, it was fucking food, you fat ass.
Big chicken sandwich, fries. Obviously, I'm going to substitute a beer in there, so it's going to be probably 13. But
okay, we're not talking. We're talking about Big Ten basketball here. Would you say
Sorry.
Big Ten basketball is the best college basketball in the country?
Yes.
Okay. Bobby, you've watched enough Big Ten basketball with me. What do you think?
I put it right out. I put them in the ACC at a close 1-2.
I honestly would say 1A, 1B, but there is a little bit of gap, so I give the ACC instead of 1B.
Because, I mean, in my opinion, from watching, obviously, with Pitt being the ACC basketball is more of a style game. And the Big Ten's a wear-you-out kind of basketball.
It's physical. Once you get in Big Ten play, it's hard to get a whistle.
Like ACC basketball is more of like it's a lot more style.
Billy,
Yeah.
you're our resident SEC fan as much as we hate Georgia. Talk to me a little bit about SEC basketball because, again, it's way different. Yeah, you've got Kentucky, you had Florida for, those years. A&M's good this year, but other than
Hmm.
that, I mean, yeah, you add Texas and Oklahoma this year who have storied basketball, programs, but Alabama's up there, Auburn's usually good, but I don't put it at the same level as the Big Ten or the ACC.
No. I mean, the last couple of years, honestly, if you really, from a vantage point, it looks the same. But if you pay attention to college basketball, which I think the four of us, really pay attention to college basketball, um, it has changed a little bit the past couple of years. And I think it all starts with Alabama. It's getting faster, fast pace, high quantity of shot. I think the last couple of years. Yes, they can get physical, but it's not Big Ten physical. That is a different breed of physicality, right? We talk about how SEC is really strong in terms of physicality in football. Well, that's completely not the case in the SEC. It's not that they don't, can be physical, but it's not what they do. It's not what the SEC does. It's not who they are as an entirety of a conference. It's a lot of mid-range shooting. It's a lot of getting downhill really, really fast. A lot of fast break stuff. At least from what I've seen this year. I haven't watched every SEC game. Haven't had the opportunity to do that. But from the games that I've watched, whether it be Georgia, whether it be Auburn, Oklahoma, Alabama, watched quite a bit of Alabama. Whatever the case may be, it's all been fast paced. Because
That's a
I don't
hold.
know if people, I don't know in for those who don't really watch college basketball, it's really hard to score 100 points in a basketball game in college.
Yeah.
It's really, really difficult. They're not shooting, at high clips
And they're playing
from
defense,
distance.
which is
Yeah,
something
they
the
actually
NCAA doesn't do anymore.
Yeah, and they play and some pretty solid defense as well. Alabama's put up what they played 5 or 6 games. They've put up 100 points 4 times, I think, or close to it already. Again, you don't really play anybody the first part of the season, right? And a lot of teams still trying to figure out who they are. But still, that's like, I don't know about y'all, but that's pretty impressive, right?
See, college
Um,
basketball to me, too, when you look at it, the Big East, I love watching Big East basketball.
Big E basketball is
That is
the place to
fun
be.
basketball to watch, when you have
Yes.
Creighton and Villanova and UConn all going at it at the, in a conference. It's fun to watch.
I
Hmm.
miss Pitt being in the Big
But
East.
you
That used to be
also
awesome basketball.
the other thing you just don't know, like, they talk about a Power Five in college football. When you had the Pac-12, I would have said there was a Power Six. I'd have thrown the Big East in there. Because they are one of the premier conferences when it comes to basketball. Honestly, I'd
Yeah.
put them in if you wanted to go with five. I'd put them in ahead of the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Um, but in college basketball, you just never know. I brought up Drake. Drake is a team, they've played really well against high-quality teams so far this year. They've made some noise in the tournament the last few
Hmm.
years. I mean, 2 years ago in 2023, we had a Mountain West team in San Diego State and a Conference USA team in Florida Atlantic make the Final Four. You just never know. I mean, we've had teams, George Mason made the Final Four 1 year. Butler, at those years that they were playing really well out of the Horizon.
Hmm.
Houston comes out of the American, Gonzaga out of the West Coast. You've had Missouri Valley teams really good. So you just never know when you get to the tournament who can show up. I mean, when you look at some of these conferences in basketball, they're drastically different than football. Because I feel like college basketball is a lot more even when you get to tournament time.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I mean, other than really UConn last year, it was pretty even up top to bottom in the tournament last year. But another thing about like By the way, shout out to UConn's coach. I think he became all-time leader in wins, I believe, if I read that correctly. Huh?
Dan Hurley.
Yeah. So congrats to him. Shout out. That's not easy to do in any sport. So tip of the cap, buddy. Tip of the cap. Congratulations.
Kansas's coach Bill Self, with their win over North Carolina, became the winningest coach in Kansas history.
Yeah, congratulations to him.
One of their
Tip
coaches
of the cap there.
was James Naismith. If you don't know that name, go look up.
Look it up.
Basketball.
Yeah, Google it. Google the shit.
Created the game of basketball was their coach, and he really wasn't that great of a coach. He had a bad record, but
yeah, off the record.
I don't know. Like, I'll sit and watch the Cavs. I'll sit and watch the NBA on Christmas Day because that's what you do. Now
I open presents on Christmas Day. I don't know about you.
College basketball to me is different. There's a lot more
heart. I love college basketball.
There's a lot more heart. There's a lot more atmosphere. You get a student section in there. You get a bunch of drunk 18 to 22-year-olds. You never know what the fuck's going to happen.
She's got a point.
Obviously, you get a group of 23 to 25-year-olds and us together, and you never know what the fuck's going to happen. I mean,
sober, you don't know what's going to happen with us.
How we got that question, but I don't know. How
I got the what?
Another question, but no, I'm excited for the game on Friday. I think Ohio State Pitt is going to be a really good game. And I'm excited to sit and watch a game, because it's not often we see Ohio State and Pitt play each other and stuff. Mm-hmm. So with Bobby coming down, it's going to be really cool to sit and watch that game with him on Friday. You don't get to see, other than Ohio State, Georgia, Ohio State played Notre Dame twice. There's a slight, I would say slight, I don't really call it a rivalry, but a slight rivalry there just because of how the last couple of years have gone.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's not often that when you're in a group of friends who all like different teams and none of them have any teams in common except for you and Chance have Green Bay, that they play each other, except for me and Bob, because, Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Fuck Pittsburgh. But
you're just lucky Paul Steens didn't pitch against the guards. That could have got ugly.
He didn't want that smoke.
He wanted it all.
He didn't want that smoke.
He threw 104 right by everybody.
Not Hosey.
Well, his strike zone's little, so that would have been harder for him.
He's ducking the ball.
Yeah.
But it'll be a fun game. I always love Big Ten ACC. Those games are always really good.
Mm-hmm. Whenever they used to do the Big Ten ACC challenge, Pitt always played either Minnesota or Northwestern.
Yeah. They got the short end of playing the really bad Big Ten teams. But we'll see. We got some good games this week. We got some big-time tournaments starting. The Balmar Hoops is really good. Battle for Atlantis is really good. And I think, the one that we'll all be paying attention to because it's the best outside of the NCAA tournament is the Maui.
Yeah, the crop of teams for that this year is insane.
I mean, you have 4 versus 5 in the country in the first round of the Maui.
Yeah. Other than Dayton, aren't all the teams ranked in the Maui?
Yeah, and Dayton's undefeated, so they'll probably get ranked by the time they get, going.
That's a hold.
You're a hold.
I don't call those.
But
that was a stiff
I
arm.
love the Maui. The Maui, if you haven't watched college basketball and you want to get into it, watch the Maui this week.
Yeah.
That is high-quality basketball in a small gym with a great atmosphere, and it very little tops the Maui when it comes to college athletics, except for maybe Ohio State, Michigan, and the national championship.
And Omaha. Omaha.
But keep an eye on those.
Oh, did he get hit in the nuts?
They're going to be good. I'm definitely going to the time with my $1 20-leg parlays with college basketball winners when we get like 70 games in a night.
Yep.
Got to wear the cup.
The Maui, I'm pretty sure, isn't that? It's basically a high school gym, I think.
It's a civic center gym. So yeah, most high school gyms are probably bigger, especially in Indiana.
Or Texas.
Everything's bigger in Texas. Except for Chance's wiener. That does not grow in Texas, buddy. Don't get any ideas. All right? You don't grow
Why'd you
either.
I know.
quit?
I've been to Texas.
Did you go to San Antonio?
I went to Dallas.
I was going to say, they got them big girls in San Antonio, according to Charles Barkley. For any of you inside the NBA on TNT fans. Which is switching over to ABC or ESPN, I believe,
I think it's ESPN.
So,
I think ESPN grabbed that. Should be fun. All right, Chance. We don't have to get in all the games, obviously, but some coaching decisions and switches have been made in the last 7 days.
some dumb.
One of them on your team, but I'll let you break it down. I'm sure you got all the
From a
NHL
fundamental
latest and
standpoint.
greatest. So, yeah, from a fundamental standpoint, break it down for us. What happened the last 7 days since we've been gone?
Jim Montgomery got the boot. He is now done.
He got
The
fired.
Boston
and
Bruins.
Yeah, fired and then
The
hired.
Boston Bruins have had they've had 3 Jack Adams finalists, which is Coach of the Year, and Claude Julien, Bruce Cassidy, and now Jim Montgomery. All have been fired very shortly after either being nominated or winning it, and all 3 of them getting hired within a week. So, don't know what Don Sweeney is really thinking there, but
Nothing.
you never. Yeah. We fire our head coach, Drew Bannister, thank God. He's going to work at Chili's.
Tell me how you really feel.
I think he just did.
Go to work at Chili's.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a list
even-
of people who should work at Chili's. We need to have this list.
We should. We need to make a tracker of who's going to
The
be working
Chili's
at the
list.
next Chili's franchise. Hopefully, it's down the road from the apartment. I love Chili's.
Oh, Chili's is
Personally.
amazing.
Yeah, very underrated.
Chance's Chili's tracker.
Yeah.
It beeps when he
but-
gets too close to one. No, wait.
Yeah,
that's
I can't
just
be.
there.
I can't be within 50 feet.
My bad.
But we fired Drew Bannister. Thank God. Wasn't cutting it. He was the interim when Berube got fired. Just kind of stuck around this year. It's Doug Armstrong's last year as the general manager. And Alexander Steen will be taking over as the general manager for the St. Louis Blues. So it kind of felt like this was Steen's idea to let go of Drew Bannister and get a brand new coach in there. Montgomery has been a part of the Blues coaching staff before. He kind of got his career revitalized in St. Louis, and then obviously went on to coach in Boston. Now back in St. Louis. So this doesn't change my perspective on the team. They still suck. Some of them will be working at Chili's here in the near future. I can guarantee that. Looking at you, Braden Chen. But yeah, it's a good coach firing and hiring by St. Louis to jump on probably one of the top coaches in the NHL. But please don't turn our season around because I want a top 10 pick.
They did it last year too, and you were big time bummed out because they had a shot there
I want
for
a top 10
second.
pick. I want a lottery pick. I haven't looked at the draft prospects at all this year, but I want a top 10 pick.
Jeez Louise.
Sad news. Ovechkin did break his leg, or something in his leg.
Fibula.
Just a freak accident play. He's not wearing a cast or anything. I saw it on Twitter that he's at the Wizards game. I don't know why you go to a Wizards game unless you want to break another leg.
Nothing else to do in DC right now.
Yeah, seemed to be walking fine. Who knows how long he will be out? I know the timetable is 4 to 6 weeks, but
That's
His
when
not
you get
counting
in
age,
for
though,
a
I
professional,
think that
39. Yeah, 39-year-old.
yeah, but when you get in
That's
professional sports, you get the best doctors, and you're usually a freak athlete. Be playing at that age, especially at the
yeah.
level he is playing at right now. I
That's
mean,
the worst part about it.
it looked like the record was going to be broken before the All Star break, or in
Yeah.
this case,
That
the Four Nations face off break that we're going to have this
yeah.
year.
I'm
That was the
actually
But
worst part
excited.
about it.
I'm excited for that.
yeah,
I'm
so
stoked.
not this week, but next week, the rosters will be revealed for the Four
Finally.
Nations
Yep.
on December 4th.
Yeah. It sucks though, right? Because he was leading the league in goals, right? Like, and it was showing no signs of stopping, and goes out there. We're already up a pretty decent amount. I think it was 4-2 at the time when he goes out. He has 2 goals on the
Goal lead is
night.
the
Playing
worst
his
lead in hockey.
huh?
2-goal lead is the worst lead in hockey.
Yep, as we found out, he just broke his leg.
Yeah, and it gets I know there's Capitals Twitter was a bit toxic, and you watch it back. He wasn't trying to run in Ovechkin. He was going after the puck and just
They
boom right
both
off the
seem to
knee.
just be watching the play and just not having any situational awareness, and then that happens.
Not at all.
So, I mean, it's just a freak thing. It's going to happen. Obviously, you don't
Yeah.
want the outcome of the injury. You hope it's just a stinger, but it turns out snapped his leg. Maybe you can call Putin and get some Russian gas. Get healed up pretty quickly.
Go see him that Dr. McCaffrey saw.
Yeah. I mean, we have Matthews going to Germany. So, I don't think Ovechkin will be going to Germany, just based off historical references. Yeah, on historical references. I'll save those.
Valid.
But, yeah. Other than that, I got nothing else.
Yeah, no.
Milestone in the
Just tough.
NHL last night.
That's right,
Crosby.
Sid.
Washed. He's a scrub.
All right, now take it easy.
Ovi's better.
They should have let that fight go on
Whoa.
the other
Yeah,
night.
hey,
That
that right hand Sid threw made every punch Jake Paul threw look bad.
Well, yeah, Jake Paul's fight was staged. Crosby's wasn't.
Yeah, I don't think Sid had any intention to fight him.
Yeah, it was just. I get it. They go to the ground, step in, right? But man, they were both popping right back up at that point. You got.
Oh, that could
It's
have.
a
Yeah,
fe-
that could have been entertaining.
Yeah, it's a tough call, right? Because that your first instinct as a ref is you see even one player go down, it's jump in there and stop the fight.
It's usually,
Stop the ball
you
quick.
stop the fight when someone goes down.
Yeah, so I mean it's difficult because they popped right back up, but still that's tough to kind of just like hang back because their first instinct is to get in there and before someone gets like too seriously hurt or bloodied up. So, but it stinks because that could have been an excellent fight, but
They should have
not
stepped
too
in
often.
and saved Matt Rempe against Matthew Olivier last year.
Yeah, they should have stopped that because Rempe got his ass beat.
Boom.
That was one of the best fights I've seen live.
That was
Agreed.
amazing. That was amazing.
I've seen some pretty good fights in the Coast League. Hey man, the Indy Fuel man, you pay $10, sit right on the glass, watch one guy take one punch and get knocked out, mouthpiece out on the floor.
Just
yeah,
And you
like
might
UFC.
you might leave with a mouthpiece or a tooth in your hands.
Yeah,
fact.
and cheap beer right on the glass. It's phenomenal. I get to bang on the glass.
Chance is the one that builds the beer pyramid. Then
Yeah.
they jump into the
Yeah.
corner and knock all
Or
his
if they
cans
get in a
over.
fight in front of me, grab his dick and twist it. As there's kids sitting next to me.
Why is hot dog getting twisted? Sorry,
What did he say? What did he say?
what did you say?
Your old dick twist.
He's got a hot dog, Mom? How's he have a hot dog on the ice?
Mom, why is that dude's wiener so small? Why is he on the ice naked?
Chance is sitting there.
Yeah.
Take your skate off and try to stab him.
So you three will like this. So obviously, you know, I took my girlfriend to her first hockey game like a month ago. It was the opening night. She saw what happened to Ovechkin the other night. She texted me and said, "We're going to the game when Utah comes to town on the 9th to watch." Because she's like, so I have a feeling there's going to be a fight before, like, as soon as the puck is dropped in the first period.
He already answered the call for it. There's
He
a
already answered,
retaliation,
and I was,
so there's not going to be anything.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, probably.
He answered the bell, so it's all that matters.
Yeah. I told her, I was like, there was already a fight, so I think there's going to be a lot of booing in DC, but I think the fighting's done, you know, so she wanted, but she was like all hyped to go, so I'm like, W girlfriend right there.
Hey, Utah's goalie last night had some sick pads.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did. Yeah, but obviously, so just quickly about the Capitals, because Ovechkin's meant a lot. We've lost 2 straight. The first 2 games we haven't had him, we've lost so far. Tough one against Colorado, and then another tough one against New Jersey. But I think New Jersey just flexed their muscles.
New Jersey's that good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jersey's just that much better.
It's weird how we've played them 3 times in 2 months. Well, not even 3 times in like a month period. No, 2 months, yeah. Like already we've played them 3 times. Like, holy Jesus.
You guys are in the Metro.
We are, but we've only. I don't think we've played any other team in the Metro twice.
I still think it's weird Columbus and Pittsburgh only played 3 times this year.
That is weird. But
we did have the stadium, not the stadium series, the Winter Classics jersey revealed. The Blackhawks, they look like shit. St. Louis is not far ahead of that.
I didn't think they were bad.
Chicago,
they're not fantastic, but they're not great.
They've had a red and black one like that before, and it's looked the exact same. Me and Jason talked about it. There's not much you can do with the original 6 teams.
Yeah.
Other than probably New York, because they can use the Statue of Liberty to their advantage, which is phenomenal. They should make that their primary logo.
Boston, you can use the bear.
Yeah, Boston the bear, but no one really cares about the Bears. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, are there any phenomenal games? There's phenomenal games every night. So, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, you said the rosters are this week.
Next week, December 4th.
Next week.
4th.
So,
yeah.
Keep out on the lookout for that. Anything else before we get out of hour 2? Bobby, anything?
That game for Columbus last night
against Carolina. I was watching Gladiator 2. Okay.
Did you go to the theater to see it, Chance?
I did. I went to Plainfield about 45
How is
minutes. It's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Jason, why'd you leave early, man?
Free tickets, and I had to be at work I was at work at 6:45 this morning. And there was a really bad accident on 270, so I didn't know which way I could go to get home, so I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, I get you. Really great game last night. Got to watch the highlights, but really, really great game. But when we come back, it's the 3rd and final hour, and it's NFL time, plus Chance's favorite segment of the night. Chance has 2 segments, actually. That and probably more when we get back. Chance.
Break time.
One of the 2 left.
Done with the bear mojo? Yeah, dude, I changed it. You just noticed? Yeah. Yeah, I did. I did a whole rebranding change. I feel like this is more personable, dude, you know? It's a play on words with my actual name, you know, with it being Jack. So it's like Jack's Flex. I'm a fucking flex, dude. You know? You fucking feel me, dude. Yeah, that's right.
It pains me to say it, But once you've dispelled the bone cages and collected the fairy dust, return to me immediately. Good luck, young wizard. May the light guide you.
Why the fuck am I playing this game? Why?
To develop my reflexes for this week. I had a jumper on Friday too. It smelled like absolute dog shit. Yeah.
Welcome to hour 3, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, when I tell you he smelled, it was like, please, buddy, get out. He left the truck smelling after he left.
Your helper?
Yes.
Oh.
Yikes. You gotta get speaking of gas station tiers, which we're gonna get to later, you gotta walk in there with that little pocket axe spray, bro, and just when you just be like,
no,
buddy, come
it's
here.
not even that. Like, I need like Febreze and like a hazmat suit. Okay, so we had neighborhoods, and I mean, you got a house here, then like maybe like 2 houses down, you got another house. But he shuts the door every time. Dude, you're getting out in the next 2 seconds. Leave the door open.
Mm-hmm.
Just locking in the juices. Oh my god. Luckily the nicotine fumes were slightly making it better in the truck.
Slightly.
Yes.
All right, let's get to the NFL. Kind of a wild week in the NFL, boys.
There was at one
Obviously-
point, I had the YouTube TV going with the 4 screens. 3 onside kicks were happening at the same time.
No shit.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Did any of them get recovered by the kicking team?
The Bears.
Of course.
Dallas took one to the house.
Mm-hmm.
That was a wild.
And the
That was a
Texans
wild
almost
game.
recovered theirs, but they hit it out of bounds.
Mm-hmm. Thursday night. Had our first snow game of the year. Browns win a
Snow globe game.
Browns win a wild one in the snow against the Steelers at home. Chubb had 2 touchdowns.
Big
There was a
fantasy
weird
points.
play.
There was a
weird
point in the
play there
game
at the end.
where when the cameras panned for the extra point, you never saw the football.
How did
Nope.
they even know if it
You
went
looked
in?
for
They
the
just counted
referees,
automatically.
You couldn't see the referees.
Yeah.
You couldn't even see the Steelers.
I will say the Amazon lines that they put on made it pretty funny because when a player would get near that, you wouldn't see their legs or anything.
Nope.
My only gripe about that is Peter Herbstreit didn't make the broadcast.
Yeah. But he's more college football, though.
Richard?
I get he's all of our friends and stuff.
I was
but
just
that's
waiting
more
to see
college
him.
Football. Yeah.
He made up for it on game day, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the kicker.
He did. Multiple times.
Multiple times. Great. There was a weird play in the towards the end of that fourth quarter on that winning drive for Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't think
Ball goes out.
I don't think Judy was ever touched.
Yeah. Ball goes out to Judy for the first down. He just sprawls. 2 Steeler players are there. I guess they blow the play dead. I watched it back. I didn't hear a whistle. Maybe it was the crowd, but I couldn't hear a whistle like the entire time. You know, Chance, are you frozen? Yes.
No.
You're definitely frozen.
He just
You're
didn't
frozen
move.
on my end.
Look at the.
Well, I am frozen.
He left. He got embarrassed.
Oh, I am frozen. There he is.
Like the ice cream truck was coming by or some shit. And his
Yeah.
was about to get up and run away.
I had Culver's ice cream, Friday night? Oh my god.
Did you cream a little bit?
I did strawberries and hot fudge.
Ooh,
Oh man.
that sounds like a hell of a combo.
After 4 beers at the bar. Yeah. Phenomenal.
Cool.
Phenomenal
hits the
choice.
spot.
Only 4.
So
Only 4. I had to take my car in to get worked on Saturday morning. I had to be up.
So I didn't hear a whistle blown dead, and neither did your cornerback. I think it was the cornerback or the safety for the Steelers.
Oh yeah, it was. They were both there. They just looked at each other.
Yeah. So he runs over because I don't think he knew the play was dead, and tries to strip Judy, and they call unsportsmanlike.
No,
No, they called delay game.
Oh, delay. Okay.
two
but-
different things.
Sorry.
They
The
hit
flag
fuck
was
out of it.
thrown there. That was a whole weird play. And then you look at the replay, I still haven't seen an angle where he's touched. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. That was a weird play. Anyhow, put them in a better position to go and get the touchdown with Chubb. So, big win for the Browns there.
Hell yeah.
I don't think, Bobby, is anyone worried after that game in Pittsburgh Nation? I don't think they are.
No, the only thing that all of us are trying to figure out is why didn't we not give Justin Fields more chances?
And what is wrong with George Pickens?
There's not enough time to talk about that.
He's the
Yeah.
next Antonio Brown in short terms.
Yeah, I'm
He's down
thinking
that
y'all
path.
might. Yeah, I'm thinking y'all might need to get rid of him.
Who are they going to throw to?
I don't know.
Shit, our best receiver right now is Calvin Austin.
Yeah. At this point,
Oh, 5-6 of them.
yeah. So, that's a rough little situation. But moving to Sunday here, Baker Mayfield, pretty solid day for the Bucks. 30-7, Bucks with 4 total rushing touchdowns today in that game. So good for them.
Yeah, I left Bucky Irving on the bench there. That one hurt.
Yeah, I had one person on the bench and it hurt me, but I'm done with football this
I
year.
left Jacoby Myers and George Kittle on the bench.
Damn.
Oh.
Spencer Strader, game winner today for the Chiefs over the very game Carolina Panthers. Chance. New life. Bryce Young looks completely different.
Yeah, Bryce Young looks revitalized. Looks good.
The team looks pretty good. Now their
the
defense
Chiefs look like
is
they're in
atrocious.
shambles. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Chiefs look like they're in shambles.
Good. Love to see
They
it.
do.
I still
Definitely
think
didn't
the
have
entire,
Noah Gray
the entire
scoring
league should have let
twice
them went
on the bingo
undefeated.
card.
They should have let the Chiefs go undefeated, so all the pressure's on them. Just losing the first round.
To play the Lions in the
Second round.
Super Bowl.
If
Yeah,
they even make it to the
but-
Super Bowl. I don't want to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I saw it was 27-19 at one point with like 5 minutes left in the fourth, and I was like, oh, they put up a good fight, but it was not enough. And then all of a sudden, I get a text from again my girlfriend who's watching the thing on multi-view. Is like, hey, are you watching the game? No, I'm driving home. It's tied, by the way. I was like, what?
What?
They did what? Like, yeah. But big run there by Patrick Mahomes at the end to kind of set up that game winner.
Oh, the Panthers left too much time on the clock, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but fuck. We really think that if it went to overtime, they were going to win.
No, because they would have made sure the Chiefs got the ball first.
Exactly. So,
Yeah,
valiant effort. I respect it.
Yeah, I give the Panthers a lot of credit. They played very well.
Yeah, so new life down in Carolina. So look out.
Definitely playing like a team that has nothing to lose because they don't.
They definitely don't. Cowboys finally break their losing streak on the road in DC. Siebert.
Commanders'
missing
defense gives up 24 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Crazy.
Fraud watch.
2 missed extra points by Siebert. That hurts a lot. Cowboys 24 fourth quarter points, like you said. And how about 2 kickoff return touchdowns? The Turpin 109, buddy, put him in a spin cycle. You see that? He just did the little, he did the shimmy, broke his ankles, and gone. 99
After he
yards.
muffed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. five-fold them.
Picks it up one-handed, turns around, jogs, spin moves, gone.
The other thing
Looks
that
electric.
watching the end of that game, so the second to last drive, how are you not playing your guys even deeper to let McLaurin get by everybody like that?
Yeah, they wanted to lose that game.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They gave it to him on a silver platter, and Washington said, nah, you take it.
Queso Smasher.
Speaking of the Cowboys, we could have one of the funniest moves happen for the NFL this week.
I was just about
He's
to get to
signing
it.
with
Go
the
for it, Bobby.
49ers.
Yeah, you did. I did see that.
He's
Who,
going
Danny
to.
Dimes?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was
going
hoping.
to San Fran.
I was so hoping he went to Dallas to play New York on Thanksgiving.
I wanted to see it.
Shit kick him.
Yeah, I
give
know.
him a 10-day. Can you give him 10-day contracts in the NFL?
To retire as a Cowboy.
That would be electric. But yeah.
Well, if he's going to San Fran, does that mean bad news for Purdy?
Well,
Done
he's
for
bad
the
news
year,
for
then?
the team.
Well, does that mean Purdy's done for the year?
Possibly.
We've got Dolphins won big today. 3 straight wins since Tua returned.
He looks
big
good.
Yeah, he looks pretty good. 317 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jalen Waddle had a day, 144 yards, and a touchdown. So good for Miami. The Titans won today. Look at that. They beat Houston in Nico Collins' return.
Nico Collins played last week.
Yeah, he was back last week.
He did. I forgot about that. Thank you.
He didn't do anything. That's kind of why it slipped.
Well, he almost scored touchdown first play of the
Yeah,
game.
the first play of the game.
Yards. Yeah,
And then there was
screen,
an illegal man downfield. Yeah, that would have been a big life for my fantasy team if he scored that one.
Yeah, same here.
Texans are in trouble.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. Will Levis sacked
CJ
8
Stroud
times in this game.
did the full Dan Orlovsky.
He did pull a Dan Orlovsky.
Did run out of the end zone almost. Well, he did, but not as bad as Orlovsky did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of sealed the game there at the end for him. Lions beat the Colts 24-6. Lions won 9 straight, but they have now gone, 3 straight games, no points in the second half. That's gonna bite them in the kisser here soon if they don't get that figured out. Yeah.
Well, last week they probably didn't play anybody in the second half.
It's also very true.
Who was that against last? Was that Jacksonville last week?
That was Jacksonville, yeah.
Yeah, 52 or some shit to 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That practice squad was probably out there for the second half.
Yeah. Now that we say Jacksonville, I forgot to add them to the tiers.
For sure they're not out of the tiers at this point.
Who knows? Surprise.
Vikings were up 24-10 entering the fourth quarter.
Wasn't it like a minute and a half to go? Chicago made all the noise.
Pretty much. Yeah. Bears recover the onside kick and then kick the game-tying field goal. But ultimately, the Vikings would go down. Hawkinson goes for big yardage there at the end, sets up a big third down field goal to call it a day.
And JJ was like non-existent today.
Yeah. Fucking ridiculous.
Big day for Jordan Addison. But...
Oh, yeah. 162 yards for Jordan Addison. Hawkinson, 114 yards. Aaron Jones, former Green Bay Packer, 106 yards. And then Darnold, good day for him, 330 yards. So not bad. Caleb Williams had 340 yards. One of his, I guess, best passing performances of the season. We go to the 4 o'clock games. Denver took care of business over Vegas. They are now 6-5, 7-5. So they're making a run there in the West. Green Bay, big W today, 38-10. Hard to get really excited about that. They played a great game, Chance, but a lot of San Fran players were out. We took care of business. I think, Chance, right?
Yeah, it's the NFL. People get hurt. We also lost our starting quarterback and we won 3 games. So
Yes,
it's
we
just a
did.
matter if you're ready to play or not. So
Mm-hmm.
they can cry about all they want on the plane ride home.
Yep. The one
I did
thing
not feel
that
bad for
Green
them
Bay
one
need.
bit.
Yep. Great job in the red zone for Green Bay today. One thing we need to figure out is dropping frickin' passes. It is so frickin' annoying watching that every single week.
We only had 1 drop.
This
2.
week,
We had 2.
yeah, 20, 22, 23 now drop passes. Leads the league. That is going to bite you in the kisser, in the ass come playoff time. We've seemed to figure out this whole field goal situation, which is nice. But we need to hold on to the football. So finally got a takeaway. We've gone a couple weeks without any interceptions. So finally got back in the takeaway column there. So, but good stuff from Green Bay today. Seattle, big win for them today. Could get really interesting here at the end, depending on what happens on this Sunday night game. We could have a 3-team tie for the NFC West at 6-5.
I think the Rams would hold the tiebreaker.
Yes,
No,
they would
because
hold
they
the
lost
tie.
to the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm. So, big implications on this game and a big win for Seattle. Made the Cardinals look not great at all. Cardinals
Must
coming
play too
off
much Call of Duty.
Yep, it finally got him.
Yep.
Yep.
Been grinding that battle pass.
Yep.
I respect it. I do the same.
Yep.
I did the same.
Yeah, I mean, I respect it. I just don't make millions of dollars the next day going to work.
Right.
So.
Alrighty. So, let's go to week 13 here. Bobby, you are still in the lead. I am in second. Chance, you are in third. Let's go to the 3.
69.
Yes, he is.
I give you co-champion this year just for that.
Not a losing
right.
record, so we keep that streak alive.
And it couldn't be a
There you
better
go.
record.
We have 3 Thursday night games because it is Thanksgiving.
Well, they're not
Detroit
night games,
is at
but
home against the Bears.
That's
I
what
have a
is
feeling-
that? Is that the 1 o'clock or is that at noon?
That isn't
That's
new.
the noon.
So I know it's always early.
Mm-hmm. I have a feeling we're all picking the Lions on this one. If not, say aye. Okay. I will lock in Lions for all of us. All right. At 4:30, the Dallas Cowboys are at home against the Giants. Now, y'all remember what happened the last time there was a 4 o'clock game in Dallas?
No, I
Hopefully
don't.
they have the sun.
Oh.
So hopefully
They
have
got to
the
win.
curtain.
They snapped the losing streak. They're going to go on a 5-game heater.
All right, so Chance has the Cowboys. Bobby?
Cowboys. The Giants just, I think,
Italians
are
don't
lost
even
cause.
celebrate Thanksgiving. You can't let an Italian win on America's holiday.
I'll be having cutlets and chicken parm after the game.
Yeah, no.
Facts.
It's not Thanksgiving.
Jason, from a journalistic standpoint, who do you
He's
have in
not
this game
picking
and why?
anymore.
I know he's not picking, but I just want his analysis anyway.
Oh.
I mean, if you pick anybody but the Cowboys, you're stupid in this one. I mean, the Giants just have nothing.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to even consider picking the Giants in this one.
Gotcha. All right, in the nightcap, the 8:20 game, Green Bay Packers are at home against the Miami Dolphins. Bobby, Miami's look good, but Green Bay looked pretty good today.
I don't think your secondary can keep up with that speed of Miami. Not a lot of teams can.
Also, will be cold.
It will be super cold. Jason, break down this game a little bit for me.
I think the key for both teams is going to be secondary play. I think it's going to be that battle because, like you said, Green Bay struggles with the drops. Can Miami's secondary take advantage? And can Miami get some sort of pressure on Jordan Love while still being able to contain? Tua's looked better since he's come back, but I feel like the Packers have a good enough pass rush against a lackluster offensive line for Miami to be able to take advantage. But strictly looking at defensively, I feel like the speed of Miami is going to take over. I think Miami wins this one, but I think it's going to be really close and come down to the wire. Green Bay obviously has the advantage because, it's going to be cold. Miami, warm weather. So we're going to have to see if Tua can put together a good game and if those receivers can get open.
If they wear the right cleats.
Yeah. So, but I think the key to this game lies in the secondary for both teams. When you look at these two teams, they have two of the better passing attacks. We know that Miami can stop the run a little bit, and we know Miami can run the ball. It's almost the same thing for Green Bay.
Yeah.
They can stop the run pretty well. They can run the ball all right. They have two good, decent running backs. Which team can find the passing game in colder weather? Which quarterback will be able to find open receivers, and which team can hang on to the ball?
Yeah.
Winning this one comes down to, can the corners stick with receivers? Can they make enough plays to disrupt the passing game for either team?
Mm-hmm. All right. We have one Black Friday game, and it's the Kansas City Chiefs against the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm assuming all of us are picking the Chiefs.
Yeah. Although Vegas did beat the Chiefs last year on Christmas Eve in Arrowhead. Absolutely dog walked them.
Kansas City?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the key for Kansas City in this game is going to be, can you contain Max Crosby? And I think the other key is going to be, don't let guys like Michael Mayer, or not Michael Mayer, their tight end, Bowers.
Brock Bowers. They still have Mayer.
I know they still have Mayer, but don't let guys like Brock Bowers beat you. He's going to be the number one target. Jacoby Myers had a big game today for Vegas. So can you shut down, your corners and your linebackers, because you're realistically probably going to have a linebacker on the tight end, right?
Yeah.
Can Kansas
Bowers is athletic as hell, though.
Yeah. And that's part of the thing is, can Kansas City's linebackers make enough plays? Vegas, when it comes to their team, I don't feel like defense is as big of a problem. They have a really good pass rush. They have a decent secondary. But again, Kansas City, you don't have that big name receiver. Can Travis Kelce step up in a game like this? Because I think it's going to come down to how well Kelce plays in this. We've seen that when Kelce doesn't have big games, Kansas City struggles. He had a bigger game today and they struggled, but I think it was playing down to an opponent.
Oh, Gray was the story for them today. 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Andy Reid's got to get it through his guys' heads. Look, we cannot play down to the Raiders. We have to take it to them. We have to come out and attack. It's going to be cold. I'm sure it will be. It's Kansas City. It's going to be loud. So, we'll have to see how Kansas City comes out. I think they've got to throw the first 2 or 3 punches to put this game away early and take all the life out of Vegas. If you let them hang around, then a guy like Gardner Minshew can beat you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got that magic.
On to Sunday. Guys, can you believe
Uncle
Sunday
Rico
is
back
December
there.
1st? This Sunday is December 1st. The New England Patriots are at home against the Colts. Bobby.
Give me the Colts.
I'm going to take the Patriots. I got a feeling that this game could get kind of weird. Chance.
Colts.
Jason?
This game's weird because your heart wants to tell you take the Colts because the Patriots have looked bad,
Yeah,
but at times the Colts haven't looked much better.
not at
Like
all.
Anthony Richardson hasn't looked great this year. Flacco's thrown interceptions, which is typical for Flacco in a heavy passing offense. I mean, when you throw the ball that much, the secondary is going to key in.
Hmm.
I think the fun matchup in this game is going to be Christian Gonzalez versus Michael Pittman Jr. If I'm New England, I'm putting Gonzalez on him the entire time. I think that's going to be the matchup to watch. And then for Indianapolis, it comes down to what other receiver can step up. If Gonzalez is able to shut down Pittman, what can you find to take over this game at wide receiver?
Yeah,
Alec
Odds
Pierce.
are it'd be Pierce or Josh Downs.
Yeah.
Josh
True.
Downs left the game hurt today.
that's also true.
I didn't watch
It was
You gotta
any
very
of
get
the
late,
game
but
JT
today.
going. You gotta get
yeah,
JT going.
You
Yeah,
gotta
it was
get
very
Jonathan
late, but
Taylor going.
yeah.
He hasn't looked like Jonathan Taylor much this year. You've got to get the running game going against a lackluster defensive front in New England. I mean, obviously, New England has a lot to prove. I haven't hated the way that Drake May's looked this year. But again, who does he have to throw to? You know, he doesn't have any sort of running game. He has no offensive line. So it's kind of hard to base it. You know, you look at games and it's like, all right, well, he's under pressure 75% of the time. He's having to scramble. He's having to make plays, and then he's got nobody downfield because who the hell are those receivers for New England? Like, this isn't Tom Brady. He can't turn a no-name guy into a superstar. You know, he did it with Scotty Miller. He did it with Edelman when Edelman first came into the league. So this is a game that's gonna be one up front. Are they in New England?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, so it's going to be cold. It's going to be a game in the trenches. And if that's the case, I give the edge to Indy. They have a better offensive line. They have a better defensive front, and they have a better running back than New England. But again, when you look at the passing game, the matchup to watch is Gonzalez versus Pittman.
I agree.
And that's going to be a really fun wide receiver corner matchup in this game.
All right. Big game for you, Bobby. You continue with your divisional play. The Cincinnati Bengals are at home against Bobby's Pittsburgh Steelers. Joe Burrow has looked incredible, but Cincinnati as a whole has stunk. Bobby, I got the Steelers down for you.
Yes, sir.
The one of two times he'll pick against Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
The only two times I will.
Yeah.
Whatever reason, we've had his number recently.
Yeah.
He has not played well against his division teams, which isn't very good because you need to beat the division teams to win the division. So
Yeah. It's the bulk of your schedule. You know, you play your division twice. You know, so I'm going to take the Steelers on this one. I think it's going to be close, but I think Wilson will out-edge Joe Burrow in this one. Could be high scoring.
We need to use
Don't
that
know.
the Wildcat Fields package more.
A little bit more, yeah. Chance.
Where's it at? Pittsburgh?
Cincinnati.
Cincy.
I'm going to take the Bengals. He
Joe
might get
Burrow, I
sacked
think,
9
has
times, but
yeah.
the key to this game when you look at the quarterback isn't Russell Wilson, and it's not Joe Burrow. Like Bobby said, it's going to be Justin Fields. How does that Wildcat formation play? Because you look at Cincinnati's front seven, and it's not very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The other thing is going to be Pittsburgh has to put pressure on Burrow all day. If you let him sit back there, the receivers are going to get open.
Mm-hmm.
I think safety play is going to be a huge key to this game for Pittsburgh. They've had decent safety play all year. I think they've got to keep that up because, again, you give Joe Burrow any bit of time, those receivers are going to shake off the corners. Can the safeties step up and make some plays?
Yeah. And I also think, isn't it crazy? Joe Burrow's potentially going to win the Triple Crown. No one's talking about him for MVP right now because of how the record is right now. And it's insane. I think he has How many touchdowns does he have? Over 20 now, right? 25?
I think so.
Like, he's going nuts.
The other thing to look at when you look at the Bengals offense is you have to get some sort of running game going. Because you look at that game this past week on Thursday night, Bobby, what's the one thing that killed you guys was the running game.
Yeah, we couldn't establish one.
Yeah, like
Fields had second most rushing yards, and he ran the ball twice.
Yeah, so, if Pittsburgh can't run the ball and they're having a pass, and then Cincy, Chase Brown's been okay, but it's the O-line. I mean, I would take the front seven of Pittsburgh against that Cincinnati front five, that offensive line, any day of the week. I'd take Pittsburgh over them. There's nobody on that offensive line that's going to stop Watt. And you've got Highsmith coming off the other edge and Preston Smith in there to make some plays.
Highsmith's still out, I think.
Is he out?
Yeah, but I mean, look at the splash play Herbig made Thursday night off the other edge.
Yeah, and you throw Cam Hayward in the middle. I think Pittsburgh wins this game. I don't think it's particularly close.
Cam Hayward's going to take up 3-0 linemen on him.
Yeah. I mean, and the other thing that Cam Hayward's doing this year it's underrated because it's not really a stat for D linemen.
Batten down all these passes.
He's knocked down. He did it against Cleveland. I mean, if he doesn't knock down that one ball in the red zone, I think Watson has a touchdown because he had a guy wide open. But, Hayward's able to get those big hands up there and knock a pass down. And against a team that has to throw the ball because they can't run the ball.
It's an underrated stat, like you said.
It is, and he doesn't get enough credit for it because that changes a game. When a defensive lineman gets pass deflections, it changes a game because the quarterback has to change and the routes have to change. You have to run routes further out. And it allows the secondary to make plays because you're congesting everything.
And it gives the pass rush more time.
Yeah. So I take Pittsburgh in this one if I were picking. I just think that they're too good on the defensive side of the ball for Cincy.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, we have the Atlanta Falcons at home against the Los Angeles Chargers. Kind of a good game. Bobby.
I'm going to ride with Stafford and the Rams. Oh, Chargers, my bad. I'll take the Chargers. I thought you said Rams, my mistake.
All good, man.
Same city.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also going with the Chargers. Justin Herbert is playing phenomenally.
He's looking really good.
Yeah. Chance.
Chargers.
Jason?
This, like you said, I think this is going to be a pretty good game. It's not a game you get to see very often. Opposite sides of the country, opposite conferences. I think the key for Atlanta is let your playmakers do their thing. Like you said, yeah, Herbert's been playing good, but anybody know how that Chargers defense has been doing? Because there really hasn't been much said about them, right? There's way too many weapons on that Atlanta side of the ball. And, Bosa hasn't had as great of a year, but when you look at L.A., what do they have to pair with Bosa?
True.
There's nothing there to pair with Bosa right now. I think Cousins is going to have a ton of time in the pocket. I think he's going to pick the defense apart. I think LA is going to have to play man, which is going to open up guys because you're going to have a linebacker on Kyle Pitts, who's a glorified tight end. He's a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Bijan's going to be open coming out of the backfield because your linebackers are going to be too focused on stopping Pitts. I think Atlanta wins this one. I think it's a close game. I think Atlanta takes control early. Again, like I said in the Kansas City game, they throw that first punch or two, and then they just run away with it. They're going to carry momentum most of that game.
Mm-hmm.
This game's going to be an offensive battle because neither team really has a defense.
Not really. The New York Jets are at home against the Seattle Seahawks. Bobby.
Give me the Seahawks.
This game's interesting to me.
Yeah, because I've seen a bunch of reports say Jets fans are calling for Rodgers' head.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Jets, assuming that Rodgers plays. Um, he's always played well against Seattle, so I think that's gonna play over, and I think the Jets kind of get. It's gonna be close, but I think they'll get a big one here. And I think Rodgers will kind of have one of those not phenomenal games, but he'll do what he needs to do to win a football game. Chance?
Seahawks.
Jason?
I said this game is interesting, and here's why. Because when you look at this game, yeah, everybody's calling for Rodgers' head. He has to have a big game. But you have a relatively young secondary in Seattle with a relatively young and talented receiving core in New York, right? Sauce Gardner's been non-existent all year for New York. So, I mean, I give the edge to Seattle just from the aspect of their offenses look better, their defenses look better, but you have a veteran quarterback going up against a young secondary.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Rodgers can make this game pretty interesting, and I think New York has a lot of momentum through a lot of this game, but I think Seattle finds a way to win it late.
Gotcha. All right. And is everyone okay with us picking the Texans over Jacksonville?
After the way Houston's looked, I don't know.
Yeah, no shit.
They're actually, yeah.
They're lucky they're in the AFC South.
The problem with this game is how much confidence does Stroud have in this team? How much confidence does that defense have? Because that Houston defense has gotten picked apart.
By Will Levis.
Yeah. And now you're going up against a better quarterback than Will Levis, which is, not hard to do, but it's really not that far off.
Well, Trevor Lawrence isn't playing.
Yeah, it's Mac.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is done.
I still put Mac Jones ahead of Trevor Lawrence.
Have you seen the way Mac Jones has looked since he became a starter this year?
Okay, but have you seen the pictures of Will Levis laying on the ground?
He went full Will Levis today and still won.
I don't know. I still think with the way that Houston defense got picked apart today by Will Levis, I think Mac Jones will have a field day. He's got more weapons at receiver than Levis does.
It's very true.
He's got much better running backs.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with this game is going to be Jacksonville has no defense.
I think it's Nico Collins' game.
Yeah. I have a Nico Collins just...
Mixon should have a big day because he was pretty much non-existent
against
today.
Sam Darnold.
Mm-hmm. So the Texans for the three of us then, boys?
Barely.
I think this is going to be one of those weird-ass games.
Yeah.
They almost lost to the Jaguars earlier this year, too, didn't they?
They did.
The Bills?
Yeah. No, they almost lost to the Jaguars.
Yeah, they had to make it a late touchdown
or
something. That was with Trevor Lawrence, so.
All right. Another interesting game here. Minnesota is at home against Arizona Cardinals. Bobby, who you got in this one?
I got Minnesota.
Damn, Saquon's gone.
Game over. Turn on Chris movie.
All right. I went ahead and went with the Cardinals. Minnesota has not looked that great in the last 3 weeks of playing. And now they're blowing leads. I think Arizona might have something cooked up for Minnesota here. And Justin Jefferson's been non-existent. And the defense isn't the reason they lost today. Their offense was just nowhere to be found for Arizona.
Oh.
So, I don't know. Kind of a toss-up game. Chance, who you got in this one?
I got Cardinals in the bounce back.
Okay. Headphone fell out. Jason.
It's Cardinals and who again?
Minnesota. In Minnesota.
Minnesota's just been so weird this year.
They've been
Super
lucky in
hot.
some of their games.
Yeah. Started off super hot, cooled down a little bit. I think this is a game we start to see him get back to it a little bit. I think this is a big game for Justin Jefferson because who does Arizona have to guard him? Right?
Yeah.
They have nobody to match up with Justin Jefferson. Arizona's defense is going to have to step up for them to win this game, and Minnesota's linebackers are going to have to play really well to be able to contain Kyler Murray because he will beat you with his feet.
Yeah.
I'm not as worried about the Minnesota secondary because Arizona really hasn't beaten teams through the air all that much. You know, they've had to use Kyler Murray's legs creating plays, and it hasn't been a matchup nightmare for teams like I think they would have wanted. So I've got to go with Minnesota just from the aspect of I think that they're defensively more sound.
All right. Off to the Washington Commanders versus the Tennessee Titans. Bobby.
I think I got to go with the Titans here.
Okay.
Washington didn't look bad today.
Mm-hmm. And Seibert's missing kicks. I'm still going to take the Commanders in a bounce back. I don't think they're going to lose 3 in a row at home. Yeah, I think they found something a little bit there in that fourth quarter, and I think they're going to they'll get the W this weekend. Chance?
I'm riding the Titans wave. Their defense is 10 times better than Dallas's defense, and Jaden Daniels struggled early on.
Yeah.
And Washington's defense isn't anything special.
That's true. Jason?
I think Washington's going to have a bounce back game. Obviously, they feel they should have won. Yes, Seibert's missing extra points, but I feel like if you can put the ball in the end zone a ton of times, he's going to make more than he's going to miss, although those words could come back to haunt me with the way that last extra point looked.
Yeah.
That was just bad hold. He just dropped the hold.
Yeah, he did. That happened too.
So that's why he missed.
I think Washington has the edge. There's nothing that scares me about this Tennessee team. Washington scares me a little bit when I look at them. Their offense has a lot of firepower. Their defense has stepped up and played well, and there's really no big names on that defense this year. Like, it's been a collective effort, and I think they have a bounce back against a lackluster quarterback and a weaponless offense.
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard.
They haven't shown that they can do anything.
Pollard's
Pollard's been
today.
a completely different player.
Ridley had a big day today.
Tony Pollard had 120 yards rushing. Their tight end ran for 70-yard touchdown. They're riding the wave.
I've got to see a little bit more consistency. If they've had big games, it hasn't been anything consistent. It hasn't been enough to scare me about that offense. And until they fix that O-line, you can't really call too many guys weapons when you can't get the ball to them.
It's also true. All right, 4:05 slate. We got 2 games at 4 o'clock. At 4:05, Carolina Panthers. After an impressive outing against the Chiefs, they're at home against the Bucks, who just destroyed the Giants. Bobby, who you
I
picking?
gotta go. I'm gonna go with Baker and the Bucks.
So
Are they
right now, no, they're in Carolina. I'm gonna go with Carolina for now. That may change as the week goes on. I have to look at the injury report and everything else. Give me Carolina for now. Chance.
Tampa. Mike Evans back. They're going to be too much.
Jason?
I mean, I think, looking at this game, it's the key aspect is quarterback play. Can Bryce Young continue the momentum he's had? Can Baker Mayfield continue the momentum he's had? I think when you look at the 2 quarterbacks, you've got to give the advantage to Baker. I've got to ride the hot hand with Baker. Baker's looked really good. Even in the games that they've lost, I've thought that it really hasn't been his fault that they've lost.
All right. The other game. We have the New Orleans Saints coming off a bye week. They will play the Los Angeles Rams, who are playing right now. Bobby.
Stafford and the Rams.
I've also taken the Rams here. Chance.
Stafford.
Jason.
I mean, if Taysom Hill looks anything like he did against Cleveland and New Orleans, but I think Derek Carr is regressing, especially since he came back. I believe he played in that game against Cleveland.
Who knows? You just saw Taysom Hill every time.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't think New Orleans stands a chance. I think Stafford is ramping it up. They're going to come out and they're going to win the NFC West.
Yeah. All right. This is a big one. Okay. 425. We get the battle of the birds here. Baltimore Ravens, Philadelphia Eagles in Baltimore. This is going to get interesting in a hurry. Bobby, who you taking in this one? Saquon versus Derrick Henry.
I gotta give the edge to.
Fun.
I gotta give the edge.
It's hard,
Right
bro.
now, I'm gonna go with Philly.
Philly?
Because, I mean, the Steelers gave the Ravens secondary fits, and I think Philly has a lot more weapons than we do offensively.
And a better
Yeah.
offensive line.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, they do have that. I'm going to take Ravens coming off a bye week. I think it's going to be close. This one might go to overtime.
The Ravens don't have a
But
bye week.
They play tonight. They play tomorrow night.
They play
They
tomorrow.
said they do play tomorrow night. I'm sorry.
They play the Chargers.
They do play the Chargers tomorrow. My apologies. Keep thinking today is Monday. I don't know why. I'm going to take the Ravens on this one. It's going to be close. Might go overtime. I think Derrick Henry and Saquon might have 2 touchdowns each.
200 yards each.
Yeah.
The Ravens
potentially.
against the Steelers, Derrick Henry never had a touch in the second half, which makes 0 sense.
Yeah, that makes no sense either. Chance, who are you going with, bud?
Philly. Their defense is way better than Baltimore's defense.
Jason, talk to me about this game.
The key to this game is physicality. I mean, and it's got to be. When you look at Baltimore's offense, right? Obviously, the most physically imposing person in the NFL with a mix of speed and strength, and just when they showed the pictures of his eyes when he's running at you, that would scare the living shit out of me. I'd probably poop my pants.
I'd just get out of the way and let him run by.
I pooped my pants for you.
Yep, here you go.
I think that when you look at the NFL, there's only one defense I would put against Derrick Henry that can play with more physicality than him. You know, when Cleveland plays him, they'd shut him down because they could play as physical as him. There's one team in the NFL that has the defense to play more physical than Derrick Henry, and it's the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
When you look at the big bodies they have on the defensive line and the big hitting linebackers they have,
Yeah.
Baltimore's gonna have to find something in the passing game, and that's just tough against that Eagles secondary. Like Chance said, I take Philly strictly from the defensive side of it. We know what both teams bring offensively.
Yeah.
The questions for Baltimore have surrounded their defense all year long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, blowing the
Eagles have too many
double-digit
weapons.
leads. Yeah.
Too many weapons, not enough touches, and they're so fixated on wanting to get Lamar Jackson going in the running game, and I get it, but you have the unicorn of running backs in the
Yeah, the
backfield.
specimen you have playing running back.
And you give him 0 touches and a half against Pittsburgh, a division opponent, when you look at it, if you can get past that first level, if you can get past Hayward and Watt, who the hell's going to stop Henry in that Pittsburgh defense?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Right?
Nobody.
But you look at the Eagles, they have some linebackers that I think, they're borderline defensive linemen, defensive ends, that I think can come up, step up, and
Freaking
pop Derrick Henry and shut down that running game.
Yeah.
The only problem I think Philly will run into is the speed from the linebackers, I think, isn't good enough to be able to stop a Lamar Jackson. They can't set that edge. Baltimore's going to be able to run outside all they want.
Yeah.
But
well, Slade Jr.
They haven't proven that they can with a running back.
Yeah. Well, real quick, maybe a wrinkle in next week's game. Slade Jr. walking off the field now into the tunnel. Don't know what for. I don't have the volume on right now, so I have no idea. I just see him. Touchdown Rams. All right. Sunday nighter. Buffalo Bills are at home against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, we don't know the story on Brock Purdy. And Lord knows who's injured for 49ers this week and who's out and who's in. Bobby, who are you taking?
The Bills.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills. Allen, MVP favorite in my mind. Should be in everybody's mind. Chance.
Is it in Buffalo?
It is.
Yeah, the Bills. I mean, we got to see firsthand. 49ers did not want to tackle Josh Jacobs in the cold. He had 20 missed tackles. He forced upon. That could be broken tackles or he just made him miss. They got to go try to tackle Josh Allen. When he takes off, no. They won't want to be there. And I'm sure Purdy won't be playing either because if you're going to sign Daniel Jones, they know something that the public doesn't. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd hope so. It's their team.
I mean, we saw what happened. They baited everybody taking Christian McCaffrey 1-1 in fantasy football. Said, he's just going to be out for a week. Well, he missed half the season.
Yeah.
So
we're still paying for it.
This season's over for the 49ers. They won't want to play anymore. They might not win a game the rest of the year. And Kyle Shanahan might get fired.
Hot seat for Shanahan?
Big news for the Giants. They are firing head coach Brian Dable.
Wow.
It's not his fault. They suck.
Yeah, they just with the
that's
Giants,
the GM and the owner's fault.
Yeah,
it's like the Jets. Why fire Saleh? Because he's the reason your defense was good. You fired him, your defense sucks.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe I change my Giants pick now. A little interim head coach bump. Tommy Cutlets ruined America's team.
The head coach can't play the game.
Yeah, but a little interim head coach. Teams usually play better the week after you fire a head coach.
Fires everybody up, man.
Yeah, exactly. Might change my pick.
Jason, talk to me about this game, dude.
Again, like Chance said, they didn't, if San Francisco didn't want to tackle Josh Jacobs, obviously they probably had to try to tackle Josh Jacobs a lot more than they're going to have to try to tackle Josh Allen. And the big thing for Buffalo is they don't have a running game outside of Josh Allen. That is not as good of a running game as facing Josh Jacobs and who's your other running back now?
Manuel
Wilson.
Yeah, those are two better backs than what you'll see in Buffalo. But the cold, you never know what's going to happen, especially with a California team coming out east. Another matchup that you don't see very often, and I love that we're getting that this year. You get a lot of the east-west matchups. I think Josh Allen takes over, and even if Purdy plays, if he's having soreness in that elbow, he's not going to have zip on the ball. He's not going to be able to play to the level that we're used to seeing Brock Purdy play. And the big thing, again, you just don't know who's going to be out, who's 100% healthy, who's banged up for San Francisco. It just seems like their entire team is hurt.
Yeah.
And I think Buffalo takes advantage of it. I don't see this game being particularly close either. Just if Daniel Jones is the quarterback for the 49ers in this game, good luck. you're not putting yourself in a very good position.
And our final game, Monday Nighter, the Denver Broncos are at home against the Cleveland Browns. Bobby.
Said Denver and Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm gonna take Cleveland.
I'm going to take Cleveland as well. I think that team has a little more confidence with Jameis at the helm. And it's going to be close. It's going to be one of those Jameis Winston games. But I think Chubb is starting to kind of get back at game speed. I think he'll figure it out. I think he might get this one done. Chance.
Cleveland, their defense will be too much for Bo Nix. As well as he is playing,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Cleveland. But both defenses can cause a lot of problems for both quarterbacks.
Hey,
Denver
by the
has
way,
a
Chance.
top 10 defense.
By the way, saw this stat about Bo Nix today. September had 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. In the month of September, he has 16 touchdowns since. Boy's going off. And I think he has
Could be
4
rookie of the year
interceptions.
now.
Yeah, he
I mean, Jaden
could
Daniels
buy.
is slowly falling off.
Right? Like 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's going nuts.
The Leavers.
Jason, all three of us just picked the Browns. Tell us why or why not we should be wrong in doing that.
I think you guys are wrong in doing that. And there's one aspect that doesn't have anything to do with either team. Altitude.
Mm.
It is tough to go to Denver and win a football game. And you talk about Nick Chubb getting back to form. How's this for your third or fourth game back? You got to go to Denver and play in the altitude.
Yep.
At night in the cold.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the cold's
Or they could play in the cold and the snow. So, that
Well, it's
doesn't...
different. Cold and altitude, they don't mix. These
Yeah, it's
colors
gonna be-
don't rhyme.
It's going to be even harder to breathe.
Yep.
I mean, I agree with you, Chance. I think that defense for Cleveland is going to be a lot to handle for Bo Nix. But what does the defense of Denver pose?
Yeah, they pose a big problem, too.
Huh?
Denver's defense poses a problem for Jameis.
Well,
Because Jameis is going to give you 1 or 2 of those plays where you're just like the old Jameis, where he threw 30 touchdowns, 30 picks.
Yeah. I mean, he did that last week against Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So, I mean...
But I think Denver wins this game. I think they have enough momentum. And I think the altitude plays a factor. They're used to it. They play in it all the time. They practice in it. Cleveland doesn't. I think the altitude is going to prove to be a problem because we've seen Myles Garrett sit out a little bit more this year. Bobby, I don't know if you noticed that, but he sat out a lot in that game against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
This game, he's going to have to sit out if he can't breathe in that altitude.
Mm.
You're taking your best player on the team off the field at times. So, I think Denver.
All right. Should be an interesting week. Chance, do you want to do your segments, buddy?
I do have quarterback tiers.
All right. We got quarterback tiers and then your segment. Here we go.
Okay. Let me pull up my notes. All right. There's one quarterback I have made up a new tier on the fly, who is a manager at Chili's. That is Daniel Jones.
Well, if he doesn't get signed by the Niners, he very well could be.
Yes. I'd like extra chips. Funny enough, too, off the shelf,
Manager.
the Giants and Jets.
Yeah, they stink.
As a whole.
Yeah. Yes, teams as a whole. The Raiders and Colts moved off this list, but the Giants and Jets take their spot, as no quarterbacks are good enough to even make off the shelf. It's just the franchises as a whole. They're doing something great up there in New York. Should probably go up there and be a quarterback. Actually, you know what? I'll add another team. I'll take Purdy off the expired because he's hurt. It's unfair to put him on the tiers because he's hurt. We'll put the Niners as well off the shelf. If you sign Daniel Jones, you have Brandon Allen, as we saw today. Godspeed. Okay. No idea. There's a lot of quarterbacks on this one. Anthony Richardson. I don't know if he's a running back or a quarterback. Couldn't tell you. Kyler Murray. Don't know if it's double XP weekend or not. Or who knows. Kirk Cousins. We don't know how his ankle is. He's shown flashes of his previous self, but still doesn't look the same. Drake May. Still, he's got nobody to throw the ball to. It's tough to evaluate him.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Young making a resurgence. Still don't know if he will turn into the old of Bryce Young or if he's just going to keep climbing the tiers and be the Dr. Pepper of all quarterbacks by the end of the year. Who knows? If that's happened, America might be in flames. All right. Will Levis is also on this. Still goes full Will Levis sometimes, but he won a game doing it, so I've got to count for something. Gardner Minshew also on this, and Cooper Rush. All right. Making a case. These are the quarterbacks that could either go off the shelf or they can just, shoot right up to the best. I got Geno Smith, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels has fallen off tremendously. Bo Nix. Jameis Winston moving on up there for you, Jason.
Yeah, he didn't look half bad. I mean,
yeah, I think he's a better quarterback in the snow.
He might be.
Russell Wilson. C.J. Stroud has moved down. You can't go Dan Orlovsky and expect to win, unfortunately. And Sam Darnold. I know he had a good game, but he's slowly showing signs of his old self. Oh, wait. Russell Wilson is not on this making a case. Scratch that. Fault in the tiers. All right. Next tier. Solid. Can't go wrong with him. Jordan Love, Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, and Tua. Exceptional. This is where it gets interesting. Joe Burrow, although he could be the Dr. Pepper of quarterbacks, the record speaks for himself. They suck. But he is not the reason they suck.
Not by
Lamar
a long
Jackson,
shot is he the reason.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson, still exceptional. This week will be a big prove-it week if he moves down the tiers or not. Justin Herbert climbing up the tiers, slowly making a case for MVP. I think he's looked phenomenal this year. Stafford, when he has time to throw the ball. I don't think we'll have a mid-change this game. I turned it off, so I can't tell you.
It is 27-14 Eagles.
Okay, still no change. And then Jared Goff. All right, final tier, the Dr. Pepper of quarterbacks. No surprise, Josh Allen probably going to win the MVP. Deserves it over anybody in the league. Besides Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had the same record as Josh Allen. Joe Burrow would be unanimous MVP.
No.
So yeah, there we go.
Hell yeah, dude.
All right, my final segment. This is my favorite part of the show. Very interesting segment. I'd love to hear your guys' take because I have thought about this nonstop during the week. It's fluctuated, but I will go last. My tier, my list. I go last. These are 3 people that are alive that you'd want to have a drink with. and ask them anything under the sun. You have unlimited time with them for the night. You don't get one question, you get all sorts of questions. Just 3 people you want to talk to over a drink.
Okay, this is a good one, Chance.
Dead or alive. Doesn't have to be sports related. Could be anybody.
I thought you said it had to be alive.
Nope, dead or alive.
Okay. Hmm.
Anybody can go.
I have one that's like a lock. I'm trying to think of the other 2.
Yeah, this is hard. Anybody. Golly.
I'll go.
Okay.
So we're just going bronze, silver, gold here.
Yep.
We're just 3 people.
3 people. Like it's 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So we're not ranking them by like who we would want to do it, like have the drink the most with.
Yeah, we would. 1 be the person you want to have a drink with the most and talk to them.
I mean, number 3, George Washington. I mean,
That'd be pretty sweet.
Phenomenal pick.
Yeah.
That would be phenomenal.
Number 2, I'd have to say Michael Jordan. I feel like sitting down and having a drink with him and just talking to him would be pretty cool. And then my one of one, just because I've listened to him talk, John Kruk. I feel like that dude can fucking put him down, and he's got story after story after story of how it used to be in the old days of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Alright, I guess I'll go now. So number 3, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, great pick. I wonder if anybody was going to have that on there.
That's definitely a number 3. I feel like that could be a very fun time, no doubt. Number 2, I would have to say probably Dale Jr. He loves to drink beer, and I feel like he could tell you a lot of cool stories about his dad and just kind of how NASCAR used to be. Which to me would be entertaining as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Then number 1, I'm going to say my grandpa, because before he died, I never got to have a beer with him, and I always wanted to.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Phenomenal pick.
I could give you my fucked up list if you want, Chance, while Billy's thinking.
I have a fucked up list. I also have I have a controversial list.
My list that would involve possible jail time has McAfee on it.
All right, my list. John Cena.
I don't think he drinks.
I don't think he drinks.
I don't know.
Steve Austin
I've
does.
seen him drink before.
Yeah.
I've seen Cena drink once. I think he was at
and
WrestleMania with Stone
I'm
Cold
also
Steve
trying to be
Austin.
different. Yeah. I mean, we grew up with Cena, so that's why. Pat McAfee.
I have an honorable mention for mine after Billy goes.
Yeah, I have to give Pat McAfee an honorable mention on my list, too.
I have an honorable mention as well.
Jason Kelsey, I think, is an honorable mention, too.
There's a lot of honorable mentions. It's tough to go to just 3, because I think I can name off like 25 people.
Yeah.
Like, I need a drink with you.
Yeah. Chance, this might have had, maybe should have been a top 5.
This might have been a top 25 if we had enough time.
Who was your last one, Billy?
Started at 6:30.
Lewis Hamilton. Always wanted to meet and sit down with Lewis.
My honorable mention would be Conor McGregor.
Okay.
McGregor would be good.
Just to listen to him talk, I think would be funny.
Or to see maybe the possibility of a bar fight, just to watch
I don't
him
think
one-two somebody.
no one's gonna piss with him in a bar.
You never know, man. People get drunk. Those Irish
I,
bucks get drunk.
but I still don't think anybody'd want to mess with him.
I'd be the person to mess with him.
But he would be a fun dude to sit down and drink with, though. Like,
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
he's got to be an honorable mention.
That's valid. That's why Jason Kelsey, I think, is another one that would be a fun time.
I don't know.
I would
After
put
what
the
he was,
Kelsey brothers on there as one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Travis will fucking put him down, too.
Yeah, but just, I mean,
Oh.
Jason at the Super Bowl party with the Nacho Libre masks just walks into the tree. Like, you know he put a few down that night.
yeah, I don't know if y'all want to be putting McGregor out there like that after what he was just convicted of, but hey,
That's
you know,
true.
What, the
Just-
sexual assault stuff?
yeah, you know,
Surprised nobody picked Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson? I would go play with his tiger.
100%.
His ass cheeks would be out, too, at the bar.
Ass cheeks
He said, I get up, go to the
tiger
bathroom.
out.
His ass cheeks are already hanging out.
Dude's wearing assless chaps.
I don't know what would be better, Mike Tyson and assless chaps with his tiger at the bar, or if I would have let Chance go up and ask Robo Girl if she could get a DUI.
She was an honorable mention for my list to have a drink with.
Is that on your fucked up list?
Yes, she could give me a ride home.
Chance, why can't I just picture this being like Handy Car from South Park?
Oh yeah, I'll get the little it's like a little motorcycle 2-seater. We get the little detachable car on the side. Sitting there with a little backpack. Got a little horn
Riding
too
in
to
a
honk.
fucking sidecar.
Oh yeah. Telling people to get out of the way. Billy, did you say you're 101?
huh?
He said
Did
Lewis
you say
Hamilton.
you're 1 of 1?
Yeah, I said Lewis.
That was your 1. Who was number 2?
Pat McAfee.
Oh, Pat McAfee. Okay, my honorable mention, kind of controversial. Don't judge me. Wanted to meet him for a long time. Won't meet him anytime soon. Hitler.
I was expecting you to say Trump when you said won't meet him anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't plan on. I don't think I'm going to hell. But yeah,
Just to ask him, dude, what the fuck were you thinking?
he was a genius, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah, let's not forget the dude did win. Wasn't he Time Person of the Year?
Yes. I mean, he executed a plan to perfection. I mean, I did see the house, Anne Frank's house. Her name was on the door, so everybody knew it. No, I'm not a Nazi. I just wanted to meet him. Do we want to do my fucked up list?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Hitler at 3, Stalin at 2, Kim Jong Un at 1.
I was gonna have O.J. Simpson, Aaron Hernandez, and
Henry Ruggs.
Ray Rice.
Oh God. But yeah, honorable mention. Yeah.
Notice how those were all football
Good.
players.
Yeah. Chance, what's the serious list now?
Okay, Hitler is still an honorable mention. Dead serious.
Oh God.
Number 3. JFK.
That'd be a good one.
Before he was shot,
Oh, yeah.
obviously.
No shit.
Yeah. Number 2, Julius Caesar. And number 1, Vince Lombardi.
Okay, that'd be a cool one.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
I do have a women. I do have a women's list
Of course you
as
do.
well.
I think we know who's your one of one on that.
Yeah, I think that's obvious.
Who?
Sydney Sweeney.
Yes, Sydney Sweeney is 1 of 1. Madeline Klein, number 2. Number 3 is Sabrina Carpenter, who has taken over the internet. I let her do the splits on my face. Honorable mention, anybody I've seen on the internet in my private browser. That's a sacred place we don't get on my phone, that's why.
I have to ask, what would you have Sabrina Carpenter do?
Do you not see the position she did in LA? Where she did the splits?
I want you to repeat what you said.
For her to do the splits on my face. Phenomenal.
And if Chance would die, he would go out doing happy. You'd go out happy.
Or do tequila shots out of Sydney Sweeney's tits. Phenomenal.
And on that note, I think it's time we end the show.
Billy, who would be... No, give us your fucked up list, Billy.
My fucked up list? Oh, God.
Yeah, Bobby, I need to hear your fucked up list.
All right, so let's...
Dumb shit. In no particular order, John Jones.
How's that fucked up?
Have you not heard the stuff he's done?
What'd he do?
A bunch, buddy. A bunch. Trying to think. Who's done some dumb shit? I'm drawing blanks.
All right, I got on mine, Ricky from Trailer Park Boys. Definitely one of them. That might be the 101 on that list.
Yeah.
I almost expected Chance to put P. Diddy on his fucked up list.
No.
But you have to protect your booty hole the whole time.
Yeah, I'll be sitting down the entire time, so I should be fine. I think he's my size.
That actually might be
height.
true.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think I'd be fine.
I love how he thinks about it for a second to make sure he'd be fine.
Yeah.
I think I would be until, he's wearing a fanny pack, he pulls out a bottle of lotion. I'm like, oh, okay, this is where it's going.
One of his 10,000 bottles of baby oil.
Yeah, I'd ask for him to buy me one more drink. I'd say, hey, I need one more drink.
Damn it, I'm in.
Yeah, I'd say, hey, buy me another drink.
Alrighty. Well, let's get the fuck out of here. It's getting late. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We're off next week for Thanksgiving weekend, and we will be back in a couple weeks. Happy Thanksgiving. Be very thankful for whatever.
I guess I could have done what we're thankful for.
Yeah, you missed an opportunity.
It's fine.
We'll get back to
this one was much better.
We can get back to that one around Christmas time, Chance.
Yeah, that's just presents. And hold gloves.
Enjoy the turkey. Enjoy the football. Enjoy some
Having
family
fried
time.
chicken for Thanksgiving.
Enjoy that post-Thanksgiving feast nap.
Bingo.
During the Cowboys and Giants game.
That will put you to sleep.
Yes.
You will go to sleep, or I will put you to sleep.
I need a warm glass of milk.
But a warm glass of shut the hell up.
Shut the hell
I'll
up.
give you some more milk.
You will go to sleep, or I will put you to sleep.
Alright, Chance. Take us home, bud.
Oh.
With the
Yeah, I don't
way
have
the
one for
internet
this
show,
week.
you gotta go back to the original one.
Oh yeah, safe sex.